Oh, good afternoon, Miss Bullock. Welcome back. When you prepared for us, just give me the thumbs up and we will get started. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We're officially opening this meeting of the Illinois Board of Review for today, December 19th, 2024. This meeting has been scheduled specifically to hear requests for late appeals non-pro-tunc hearings. Will not be hearings on the facts of a particular case, only to consider your requests to be allowed to submit a late appeal. So if you've come to here, get your matter ultimately resolved, this is not the hearing for that today. We will be making those decisions as to whether or not there's going to be you be allowed to file late. The chair of the board will announce the decision. There may be occasion for executive session, but for the most part, I will announce the decisions. The board members and the other panelists will um, introduce themselves in a moment, after which I'd like to hear from the law department to see if there's one person who will have a series of preliminary matters before we hear each request. If not, the lawyers for the law department, please use the raise hand sign if you have any particular matter you think we need to hear preliminarily before we get into the list itself. I am Kenneth Woodson, board chair.
Ralph Pincus, board member.
Steve Pettit, board member.
Roger S. Tennant, senior board member.
Beverly Penn, board member.
Ryan McSherry, board counsel.
Richard Wade, board administrator.
Thank you very much. Okay, do we have one person designated for the law department, or do we need individuals to share information with us? Please use the raise hand sign if you do.
Good afternoon, Chairman Woodson. This is Michael Rullo, RULLO. I do have some preliminary matters to read into the record.
Okay, thank you.
Beginning with number 1, appeal ending 000173, 9908 Bustleton Avenue, a Vladimir Pukic, I'm going to spell it, Pukhkiy. That matter is moot.
Moot? Okay, thank you.
Number 2, ending 000183, 2101 Market Street, Ida Estrada, that's moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 6, appeal ending 002440, 3318 H Street, a Wahua Peng, I believe is the correct pronunciation of that. That is moot. And I just note for the record that it is moot because the property was sold and the appellant is the new owner.
Okay, thank you.
Number 7, appeal ending 002778, 717 South Christopher Columbus Boulevard, a Mauricio Jalliffe, that's moot.
Moot.
Number 14, appeal ending 003877, 2328 North 20th Street, Albert Jones, moot.
Moot.
Excuse me. Number 32, appeal ending 004446, 6645 Sylvester Street, a Yang Jun Lee, moot.
Moot.
Number 39, ending 004664, 1389 North American Street, Klein Construction Company. That was withdrawn by the appellant.
Okay, thank you.
Number 41, 004682, 3340 Waterloo Street, Louis Garst, moot.
Moot.
Number 44, 004738, excuse me, I'm going to address 44 and 45 at the same time. 44 is ending 004738. 45 is ending 004739. Both concern 2647 Reed Street with an appellant of a Vargas, I'm going to spell the last name, OGANISEAN. Both of those matters are moot.
Moot, okay, thank you.
And then before I turn it over to my colleagues, I did have a couple other preliminary matters to handle for my cases.
Okay.
beginning with number 300000184 1716 North Fifth Street, PP Factory LTS LLC. That is a corporate entity, as evidenced by the name. So I am unaware of any attorney having entered on the case. And I believe under the board's rules, that would require a continuance.
Correct. Well, I have the name uh, Ada Estrada. Is that individual present?
I believe that's for number 2. I was referencing number 3.
Oh, well, I have the same name for both.
Oh,
Okay, well, let me ask it this way. Anyone present representing the interests of 1716 North Fifth Street? 1716 North Fifth Street. And would you read that corporate name again, Mr. Rulo?
I have it listed for number 3 as P as in Paul, Factory, LTS LLC.
LTS
Correct.
LLC. Okay. Is anyone here representing the interests of PP Factory LTS LLC? Anyone present? Mr. Wade, you have something to contribute? You're muted, sir, if you.
Just while he's looking it up, Mr. Chairman, I just
Yes.
note the note that says, I think it means, oh, from one of the cases that it's been resolved. You might, normally you explain that if it's been marked moot, the consequences. So
Yes.
I don't know that you did that today.
I did not do that. While Mr. Wade is doing that, I did skip a few steps. I would say to everyone again that this is a formal hearing with a court reporter. Each of you will be given the opportunity to speak. We don't speak over one another. We also expect that you would be present as if you were in a courtroom. So no reclining your bed, your easy chair. You must be dressed appropriately. Gentlemen should remove their hats. No consuming food or alcohol or any other beverages while we're in the hearing. Okay. Thank you. And also, you must be in a place where you can hear what we're saying and we can hear you without background noise. So you can't be engaged in a formal conversation with other people or at work and engage in a meeting, for instance, and hold your hearing at the same time. Uh, I believe that also each during these preliminary matters, we will be announcing cases that are moot or moot complied. Please listen carefully. If your address or name is called and it's moot or moot complied, that means you are excused from the hearing. It's a public hearing. You may remain if you'd like, but you're excused because your matter has been resolved. Okay, and the law department, as per our usual procedure, is going through this list of properties as we speak. Mr. Wade, you have something for us? You're still muted, sir.
Both appeals 2 and 3 were signed by an Eda Estrada. And on both appeals, the mailing address listed was for 2740 North Front Street. For both matter 2 and 3, notice of this hearing was sent to Eda Estrada for 2740 North Front Street.
Okay.
So there was service for both appeals.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rulo, there's no response regarding 1716 North Fifth Street. What's your pleasure?
I would ask that that be marked a city affirmed for failure to appear.
Okay, given that this is a request for a late hearing non-pro tunc, what we will do, in this instance, I can just pronounce a decision regarding our willingness to hear the non-pro tunc presentation. Mr. McSherry, am I within my authority to do that?
I think ultimately it should, yes, that is correct.
Okay, so in this instance, we don't require a city affirm for non-appearance. Essentially, the individual wasn't present when the case was called, therefore, the request has been denied.
Correct.
Okay, all right, Mr. Rulo?
And then moving on to number 4, appeal ending 000312 700 Rodman Street, Maria Pfeiffer. We do have a settlement on that matter, which is a city affirm with a 2-month stay of enforcement. I was only able to speak with Ms. Pfeiffer a short while ago, so it has not been reduced to writing. Ms. Pfeiffer is here, so I guess if we could get her to confirm that
Sure.
those are the terms.
Ms. Pfeiffer, are you present?
Yes, yes. Oh,
Okay.
Mike is unmuted. Yes, I am.
Okay. Do in fact you agree with the city's position that there's been an agreement?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you. So noted for the record. Thank you. You excuse for the day if you choose to leave.
Thank you.
Mr. Rulo, anything else?
One more for you.
Okay.
Number 5, ending 001293, 507 West Cumberland Street, a Madison Ventures Phil LLC. Counsel for the appellant is Natalie Klishtorny. We also have an agreement on that one, which is a city firm with a 3-month stay of enforcement.
3 months saved. Is Ms. Crestoni present? Yes, I see him.
Yes, I
ma'am.
am, Mr. Woodson, and I agree with Mr. Rulo.
Thank you very much for your presence.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And this matter is resolved. We'll excuse the witnesses and or the principals. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much. You as well.
And now I will turn it over to my illustrious colleagues.
Okay, illustrious colleagues, we're waiting to hear from you. I don't see any raised hands. Oh, there they are. Okay, Mr. Sean Logue. You're muted, Mr. Logue.
Good afternoon, Chairman Woodson and members of the board. I just have one preliminary matter to call to the board's attention, and that's case number 16 on our list, appeal ending 3934. Address is 168 East Sharpneck Street.
Yes.
The appellant is 168 East Sharpneck LLC. That appeal was actually timely filed, and so the city
Oh,
would
it
like
was.
to be allowed to proceed to a merits hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, the date of the notice on our hearing list.
Yes.
Pardon me, I just got to pull it up again. The date of the hearing, date of notice on our hearing list is August 5th, 2024. The notice was actually sent August 31st, and so the appellant filed their appeal within the 30-day appeal window.
Oh, okay. Just one moment before we move on. Mr. Wade, is your records confirm that?
The notice that was brought in was dated 8/5. We didn't have any mail. There was no accompanying mailing, so we required the late appeal form. But if they have a record of it being mailed 8/31, then it would be timely.
Yeah, that's strange. I mean, the appeal form that I see lists a date of notice. They did fill out the late appeal form.
I'm looking at
I'm
looking at the violation notice. It says dated notice 8/5. So
okay. Yeah, I see a notice dated.
the final notice is dated 8/31. The original notice was dated 8/5.
Okay. Based on our understanding of the procedures, the 30 days begins at the date of original notice. I believe, unless I
Yes,
can be.
You are correct. I may actually be looking at I may have looked at the final notice by mistake and didn't catch that. So
Okay. Is anyone
Yes.
present representing the appellant? 168th East Sharpneck LLC. Anyone present? Mr. Lowe, did you have any communication regarding the non-pro talk request?
No, I have not had any communication with the appellant.
Okay. So at the moment, no one's present it doesn't appear as anyone's present. And so, Mr. Wade, just check for service, please.
168 East Sharpneck LLC listed 7715 East or 7715 Crittenden Street, 301. Notice of this hearing was sent to 7715 Crittenden Street, apartment 301 on November 20th.
Okay. And that would be for both 16 and 17, correct?
Let me check.
168 East Sharpneck and 170 East Sharpneck.
Notice was sent for both properties to 7715 Crittenden Street, 301.
Okay, thank you. So let's
I
do
believe,
this.
appeal number 15 was the same appellant, actually.
Okay, Mr. Lugo, are you representing the city in all three matters?
I am, yes.
Okay, so let's start with 15. Let's read that one in and see if we get a response. Mr. Wade?
Appeal number 15. Hearing appeal ending 3932, 3337 North Huber Street, Distinguished Properties. Distinguished Properties listed 7715 Crittenden Street, 301. Is their mailing address. Notice of this hearing was sent to 7715 Crittenden Street, 301 on November 30 or November 20th.
Okay. Is anyone present representing the interests of 3337 North Uber Street, Distinguished Properties? Distinguished Properties. Anyone present? Okay, no one's responding. Mr. Logue, what is your pleasure?
The city requests that the request for a late hearing be denied.
Okay, thank you. Based on the city's request and also review the matter, no one's present from Distinguished Properties, so therefore the request is denied. Thank you. Read in 16, please.
Case 16, hearing appeal ending 3934, 168 East Sharpnack Street, 168 East Sharpnack LLC. Notice of this hearing was sent to 7715 Crittenden Street, 301 on November 20th.
Okay. Hearing no response, Mr. Logue, what is your request, your pleasure?
The city asks that that request for a late appeal also be denied.
Okay.
And just
response.
to clarify for the record, Mr. Wade was correct. The initial notice was dated August 5th. The appellant attached the final notice, which was
Okay.
the later date.
Thank you. The request for a non-proton hearing for 168 East Sharpnack, denied.
Case 17, hearing appeal ending 3938, 170 East Sharpnack Street, 170 East Sharpnack Street LLC. Notice of this hearing was sent to 7715 Crittenden Street, 301 on 11/20.
Okay. Anyone present representing the interests of 170 East Sharpnack Street, East 170 East Sharpnack Street LLC? Anyone present? Anyone present? Mr. Logue, no response. What is your pleasure?
The city asks that the request for a late appeal be denied.
Request that's denied. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes my preliminary matters.
Thank you. Ms. Nessich, you're next.
Good afternoon, Chairman Woodson and members of the board.
Afternoon.
There is just one matter for the City of Philadelphia Water Department that I'd like to bring to the board's attention. It's listed at number 43.
Okay.
2024-004-733. The address is 4527 Baltimore Ave. The appellant listed in the code schedule document is Tahir Maksud. However, the property is owned by an LLC, according to a deed dated to 2014. And so
Okay.
I'd like to bring to the board's attention that there should be counsel present for this matter, but I do
I'm here
not see
for that
counsel
matter.
listed.
Okay. Someone just spoke. Sir, are you in
Sorry,
legal?
yes, I'm here for Momo LLC. Churchill.
Okay. And put your name on the record, please.
Yep, Churchill Houston. CHURCHILL. Last name HUSTON.
Okay. You're legal counsel licensed in this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
I
see.
am. I don't do this work, but I am.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We will call you then in regular order.
Thank you.
Okay. Sir, one other thing. Just spell your last name again, please.
Or HUS as in Sam TON.
Okay. HUSTON. Okay. Thank you very much.
That's all
Okay.
for my preliminary matters. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. John Rizoric, my apologies, sir.
No problem, Chairman. Just a few preliminary matters. First, number 27 on the list, appeal ending 4308. The property is 704 Chestnut Street. The appellant is 700 Chestnut Street Associates LP. Appellant's counsel reached out to me yesterday. An agreement was forwarded to the board. The agreement was for a city of firm with a 30-day stay.
City of firm, 30-day stay. Okay. Is anyone present representing the interests of 700 Chestnut Street? Anyone
I do
present?
not believe appellant's counsel was planning on showing up today.
Okay. We'll just note for the record that the settlement has been reached.
Thank you, Chairman. Next is number 28 on the list, appeal ending 4332. Property is 322 to 40 Race Street. Appellant is Brian Sales. I wanted to raise this as a preliminary matter. While the appellant is just an individual, the notice was sent to an LLC, and therefore counsel would be required for this appeal.
Okay. What is the name of the LLC? Do you know that?
If you could give me 1 second. The LLC was Domus Incorporated, DOMUS Incorporated.
Okay. All right. Construction company. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anyone present representing Domus or 322-40 Ray Street, Brian Sells, SALLS? Anyone present? Okay. No one's responding.
Mr. Sales listed 101 Lime Kiln Pike, Glenside, PA, as his mailing address. Notice this hearing was sent to 101 Lime Kiln Pike, Glenside on November 20th.
Okay. Mr. Reserve, no one's responding. What is your pleasure?
The city would just request that the board denies appellant's request for a late appeal.
Okay. Thank you very much. In response to the city's request, this matter is denied.
I have a
Okay.
few more. Number 29 on the list, appeal ending 4334. The address is 738 South 9th Street. The appellant is Sage De Palma. I raise this matter because in looking into the background of this case, it appears the property is owned by a trust, and notice was issued to that trust. And so I guess it's a standing issue of whether Ms. De Palma had standing to represent the trust for this late appeal argument.
Okay, let's see if anyone's present. Sage De Palma, anyone present representing the interests of 738 South 9th Street?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm here representing the company Orange Tech Trade LLC, but not the trust and the building.
Okay.
Under Jessica Jen.
Okay, Mr. Palmer, you're an attorney?
No, I'm not.
Pardon me?
No, I'm a
Okay.
business owner.
Okay, so given that this is a trust, we need an attorney representing the interests of the parties. Now, your client or whomever you're representing, is that individual, what's their connection to this property?
What is my connection to the
You know,
property?
what is your connection or your client's connection to 738 South 9th Street?
So I'm not an attorney. My the landlord for the property, the landowner for the property, I'm not sure if that's who you had the issue from. I'm the business owner for the property. So I received the letter, so I thought I was supposed to be here.
You are the business owner for the property, did you say?
But I'm renting the storefront, using it at the moment as an office. Haven't opened it up yet. But
Oh, so you're the tenant in the
yes,
the building. You're the tenant in the address. Okay. And so you own the business that is has the leasehold interest in the property.
Yeah.
Okay. And the violation notice was sent to who? It's addressed to you?
Let's see. It's possible that in my zoning application that I put my business name instead of the permit holder.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm a little new to
Ms.
that.
De Palma just mentioned zoning application, so she may not know the distinction between what our board does and the zoning board. There may be a zoning application pending.
Well, let's do that. You may be correct, but before we do that, I'm going to hear from the city. So, what is your understanding of the nature of the violation that we ultimately may hear? We aren't sure yet. We may or may not hear.
So the only notice was sent to the property owner, which was this Jessica Jen irrevocable trust. So no notice was sent to the tenant, and this is not a intent to cease or type of violation that I believe would give the tenant standing to appeal.
Okay. Do you have can you tell us quickly what's the nature of the violation?
The violation, it was 3 violations. It was obtain zoning permit for signage, obtain zoning for the current use of the property, and obtain a certificate of occupancy.
Okay, and those are all addressed to the property owner, not to the tenant.
That is correct.
Okay, so we just really have a standing issue here, I believe. Mr. Palmer, are your leasehold interests, did it give you the authority to change zoning or request change in zoning?
I've started the process. There was a,
No, you didn't hear my question. I'm wanting to know is if does the building owner give you authority to seek zoning changes?
I believe so, yes. That's why I'm sort of in this
You
mess.
believe so? Okay. All right. We need a quick executive session. I need to hear from my counsel on this. Just hold on for a moment. We're gonna go off the record.
If I can add one thing, Chairman Woodson, before you
Yes.
go off the record.
Yeah.
I do believe a zoning permit has been issued for a change of use at the property, if that clears up anything.
Yeah, well, the issue is whether or not we will allow her to represent herself in this forum for a non-pro tunc hearing. And the issue, the problem that I'm having is that everything was addressed to the property owner and not to
Right.
Mr. Palmer. Well, so the issue is whether she has even standing or not to be here. That's my concern. So just give us a moment. We'll be back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Sage DePalma. Mr. DePalma, we need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Mr. DePalma, do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give be the truth so help you God?
Sure.
Did not hear you.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Mr. Reserve, we need to, just for a moment, we need to resolve this issue of standing before we get to the argument of non-pro-tunc. And so, Mr. Palmer, what information or evidence do you have that would show that you have standing to represent the interests of this address? Do you have a reference to a lease paragraph or written authorization from the owners of the building? Do you have anything to present?
actually, um, uh, yeah,
What is it that you're referencing?
I have a lease. It's over here.
Okay, but what does the lease say specifically that gives you authority to represent the interests of the property in this forum?
All I know was that he had asked me to take care of it.
Okay, let's do this. Did he put that in writing?
No, I can put him on the phone though.
No, and who was he? Who is the he you're referencing?
David Jen.
And who is David Jen?
He is the owner of the property and the trust, Jessica
Okay.
Jen.
Is he an attorney?
No, he's the
Okay.
building owner.
Okay, that building owner must be represented by legal counsel because it's owned by a revocable trust. Okay, so I think where we are, Mr. Palmer, is that you don't have standing for this hearing, so we are not going to allow you to present today. Mr. Resort, do you have any additional information you want to share? I'm sorry, please.
I don't believe the city has any additional position on this matter.
Okay.
May I ask a question then?
Yes.
So you had just said that because it's a trust, there needs to be an attorney representing this issue.
Yes. All the correspondence that the trust has received, I don't think you've received it. Your name is not in our correspondence, indicates that it must be represented by legal counsel.
Okay. So
Okay.
then who will I reach out to? Is there an email or a contact?
Well, in this
to have
instance,
him reach out to.
okay. This matter is resolved today because two things. One, we don't believe you have standing. So the ruling of the chair is that you don't have standing to be here, which means your request for non-pro-tunc hearing is denied.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Resort?
Yeah, sorry, one more, Chairman Woodson.
Mr. Chair, if I may go back 1 minute, if Mr. Palmer is still here. Mr. Palmer, are you still here? She's not here. All right, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Resort?
Yeah, one last matter, number 30 on the list, appeal ending 4371 for the property located at 602 East Ontario Street. The appellants are Haim Faraj and Samuel Clifton. In reviewing this case file, the notice and property owner of this address is an LLC, and I do not believe an attorney has entered on the case.
Okay. Is anyone present representing the interests of 602 East Ontario Street? Haim Faraj and Samuel Clifton.
We
Anyone
are
present?
both present. Yes.
Okay. I see Clifton. I don't see the other individual. Oh, the other individuals. Okay. Gentlemen, I assume both of you have received copies of the correspondence. It indicates you need to have legal counsel. Do you have a lawyer?
I do not. We was under the impression this was a chance. We didn't receive the notice. And then when we found out the notice did exist, we tried to put in for extension to be able to answer to this.
Okay.
We did not know.
But before we go any further, Mr. Wade, check the record in terms of the mailing address, please.
Address for the appeal.
Yes.
Which one?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's number 30.
Yeah, I mean, no, do you want the mailing address that was on the appeal?
Yes. What address
Okay.
was the notice sent to?
The hearing notice was sent to 1 Shepherd's Way, Glenside, PA, Unit 1.
Okay. Gentlemen, that address, is that your address or one of your addresses?
That is the address now, but not at the time of the violation.
That's the address that you put on your appeal notices, though, right?
Right. That's afterwards. So the initial thing that came out, I did never received.
Okay. Two issues. One is your argument for late appeal. We can't have that until we resolve this issue of you being represented by legal counsel because the property is owned by an LLC. Now, are the two of you the only two members of the LLC?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. McSherry, is that do we need legal? We still need legal counsel, I assume, Mr. McSherry.
Yes.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, you're going to have hire a lawyer to represent your interests in this forum. Mr. Resort, do you have any position on this?
No, the city takes no position.
Okay. Okay, so what we will do, we will continue this matter to allow you to hire an attorney to come back.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. Miss Jane Wong.
Good afternoon, members of the board. I represent the city's air management services on 2 appeals today, numbers
Okay.
20 and 21, ending in 003957 and 003958. I do believe the appellant is represented by counsel, but I do not see Mr. Sobel on the line, so I was just wondering if counsel was present for this matter.
I believe we have different counsel. The board received a request for a continuance. Is there Mr. Wade Albert present? I think that's the new person who's entered this appearance.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is Wade Albert here.
Okay. Mr. Albert, did you submit a request for a continuance?
I did, Mr. Chair.
Okay, what is the basis of the request?
Really 2 things. One is that my witness, Serena Rose, is not available to testify today. And the other thing is that I came into this case kind of late, and I wanted to have an opportunity to potentially resolve this with Ms. Wang. So if we can, possibly have a.
Well, let's do this. Well, now, what is your witness's relationship to this property?
The witness is essentially the property manager.
Okay. Alrighty. And didn't know that this hearing was scheduled on this day?
She did, but she due to unavailability, she was not able to make this hearing.
Okay, I need a better argument than she's not available. This is a request for non-pro tunc. So is she ill? She's in a hospital? Something happened? A family member die?
No, Mr. Chair, it's a business reason that she had
Okay.
another. She was just not able to
Okay,
avoid a particular business
Okay.
matter.
Let's do this. Ms. Wong, are you willing to go into a breakout room and discuss this matter with Mr. Albert?
Of course.
Okay. Mr. Wade, if you could put the two of them in a breakout room, that may be a way to resolve this. We are not willing just to generally extend these non-pro tunc requests. They have to be resolved today. All right, thank you. You will come back to you if there's something later. Okay, Ms. Wong, let us know if you want to put an agreement on the record or something, okay?
Yes, thank you. And may I request that my colleague Morgan Pace be also added to the
Yes.
room? Thank you.
Mr. Wade? Okay, Lee Begelman?
Good afternoon, members of the board.
Good
I
afternoon.
have a couple of preliminary matters to bring to your attention. The first is regarding two appeals. They're numbers 34 and 35 on the list. The first is appeal number ending 4477. The second is 4479. They're both appeals concerning 4828 Pascal Avenue, and appellant is 1819 Investments LLC. It was brought to my attention this morning that appellant submitted a continuance request for both matters.
Okay.
They stated their attorney could not make it, but there's no attorney named in that email, and the email was not sent by said attorney.
Oh, okay. What is your position on this request?
The city opposes the continuance request. Again, the appellant is an LLC for both of them, so they would require an attorney, and it's not clear to me that there isn't an attorney obtained for this matter. Also, the late appeal request can be denied on the papers alone, but to the extent the board does grant the continuance, since it was submitted prior to today, we just ask that the next listing remains a non-pro-tunc hearing and not a merits hearing.
Well, based on the dates, for instance, for number 34, which is 04477 4828 Pascal Avenue, the notice of violation was June 6, 2024. The appeal was 10/28, 2024. Based on those records alone, we would deny that request for a non-proton hearing. And the second matter, ending in 4479 4828 Pascal Avenue, the notice of violation was January 25, 2024, and the appeal was submitted 10/28, 2024. In both cases, we're denying the request for a non-proton hearing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That matter's resolved.
I have one more matter to bring to your attention. It's case number 33 on the list, appeal number
Okay.
ending 4459.
Yes.
Concerning 2200 North Front Street. The appellant is in Osama Siam. It's OSAMA and SIAM. However, there's a standing issue and a potential attorney representation issue. The notice of violation was issued to a Samed, SAMED Real Estate LLC, and that is also the owner of the property. So the city raises a standing objection, and also to the extent that the appellant is appealing on behalf of Samad Real Estate LLC, they will need an attorney to continue.
Okay, is anyone present representing the interests of 2200 North Front Street? Or Osama Siam, SIAM? Anyone present? Anyone present? Anyone is responding? Oh, I see a Linda Siam. Sir, you're muted. I'm not sure if you're the party in question. Unmute yourself, sir. You're still muted. You're still muted. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Your name, sir?
Yeah. Salasayam.
Okay. And what is the person who submitted the request for this hearing is Osama Siam. Who is that person?
He's my son.
Oh, he's your son. Okay.
Yes.
And what is your relationship to this property, 2200 North Front Street?
I'm the one who handles, the violations and everything, the managing everything about the building. And anyhow, everything was,
No. You're going too far. I just wanted to know what your relationship is. So you are not the owner of the property, correct?
No.
Yes, no?
No.
Okay. Are you an attorney?
No.
Okay. And the property is owned by a Siam, a real estate corporation, right?
Yes.
Okay, that company has to be represented by an attorney. So
Wow.
we will not hear your non-pro-tunc request today. And the issue is, Mr. Bergman, do you have any position as to whether we grant a continuance in this matter?
The city's still not quite sure what the connection is between the appellant and the property. So the city doesn't have any further
Okay.
position on.
It appears based on Mr. Sam's testimony statements thus far, the individual, the noted appellant is his son, and he himself is the manager of the property on behalf of a real estate company. And so neither of them would have standing to represent the appeal. And so the real estate company, if they are still interested in this, will need to pursue it with the assistance of legal counsel.
The city concurs with that.
Okay, so we're going to continue this to allow for legal counsel to be hired. So you need a lawyer, sir?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, but last month I had tickets and they resolved it, without a lawyer or anything.
Well, if you come before this board, you need an attorney. Okay, I can't speak for any other forum in the city of Philadelphia, but before this board, you need an attorney, and that's
Okay.
written on all the if you read the correspondence, it says that. So make sure you read it carefully.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
How long do I have?
We will. That I can't tell you. The administrator will take care of that. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. No problem.
Okay.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else? In addition, Mr. Begelman, your hand is still up. I don't know if you have anything else you want to share with us.
No, nothing further.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Begelman, I gave you a breakout room.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wade.
I gave Mr. Begelman a breakout room for one of the appellants.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
And excuse me, I apologize for interrupting. Board Chair, may we take a brief executive session?
Yes.
Yes.
Where were we? Oh, that's this here. Oh, my apologies. I don't see any additional raised hands. I just want to quickly take a look at the list that the board itself has. Who's representing number 8, which is 3816 3662 North 21st Street, Yadira Brown. Who's representing the city in that matter?
This is Christopher Johnson.
Also, Ms. Nadira Brown, are you present?
I did not see Ms. Brown on the call.
Okay, we have a standing question we need to resolve before we hear the request for a non-proton hearing. Ms. Yadira Brown, anyone present representing the interests of 3662 North 21st Street, Yadira Brown? No one is responding.
Ms. Brown listed 3662 North 21st Street as our mailing address. Notice of this hearing was sent to 3662 North 21st on November 20th.
Thank you. No one's responding. Mr. Johnson, what is your pleasure?
The request should be denied and dismissed.
Okay. Based on the city's request and the fact that the appellant is not present, the request for a non-proton hearing is denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, which is 3823 5236 North Hutchison Street, Deanna Scott. Who's representing that matter?
This is Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
There's a continuous request on this matter, Mr. Johnson. You aware of that?
Yeah, I believe that Ms. Scott had emailed earlier today, I believe.
Okay, what is your position regarding the request?
The city takes no position.
Okay, this came in today as a retaining wall matter.
I'm here.
Oh, you are? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, I told the guy that when I got on Zoom, I said I did have an appointment, but I got back in time.
Okay,
So I'm here.
Okay, so you're prepared to make your argument today then. Okay, you don't need the continuance. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we'll call you in regular order then, okay? So just stand by.
Okay.
All right, number 12, 3862 2224 North 4th Street, Paulino Torres. Who's representing the city?
This is Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, Paulino Torres. Anyone present representing that property at 2224 North 4th Street? Anyone present?
I believe I saw Mr. Torres on the call.
Okay, Mr. Torres. Mr. Paulino Torres. Mr. Wade, do you?
I just asked him to unmute.
Oh, okay.
And now I don't see him.
Okay. But we believe he's with us today.
I don't see him now. I did see him.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, we're going. The issue
Actually, I
here,
don't, I'm sorry, I don't see him. I think that might have been somebody.
okay,
Mr. Johnson, you saw him?
When I logged in, I believe that he was present, but I could be mistaken. And
I think it was Pete Torino. I think I misread it. I don't see Apolino Torres.
okay, let's do this. Because of that, there's some level of confusion. We're going to pass it and come back to it, Mr. Johnson.
thank you.
But what we will be discussing, though, is this corporate ownership, I believe. So we need to resolve that before we hear the presentation. Okay. Alrighty. We're down to is the city still in the breakout room regarding number 20 and 21, Mr. Wade? South Broad Street.
I believe Miss Wang's back.
Yes, and
Miss Wang?
yes, I
Okay.
am here, and I believe Mr. Wade is also here as well, and has an update on his client's position.
Okay. Was there a settlement reached, Miss Wang?
Mr. Chair, we have agreed that that I would be withdrawing the appeal, subject to further conversations about settlement and discussions about the underlying nature of the violations.
Okay. So, Mr. Wade, would you read both those cases in, please?
Case number 20, hearing appeal ending 3957, 258 through 62 South Broad Street, Post 260 Property Owner LLC. And case 21, hearing appeal ending 3958, 258 through 62 South Broad Street, Post 260 Property Owner LLC.
Hey, thank you. And Mr. Wade Albert, who is counsel for Post 260 property owner, those matters, this appeal is being withdrawn, sir?
Yeah, yes.
For both matters. Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you very much for your participation. Have a good afternoon. Ms. Wong, you also excused should you choose to leave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's move on to number 36. The 4523 5300 Lansdowne Avenue, David Slapp.
There's
who's representing-
counsel.
There is counsel?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So that
Yes,
will,
sir. Steve Wegreiser for DB Storage LP.
okay, we'll call that in regular order. We didn't know that you were
There was a request for this to go early if possible.
okay. All right. We will attend to that as soon as we get through this preliminary list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to 4733. That's 4527 Baltimore Avenue. Tahir Masood.
They're in a breakout room.
They're in the breakout room. Okay, so we'll come
Wait,
back to that.
Mr. Wade, could you try to put us back in a breakout room? I don't think that I received that invitation. And if I may,
He's
have
in there.
okay, may I also have my witness join us, Mr. Dante Watson?
Okay, it's room 4.
Thank you. If you could resend that to the both of us.
You have it at the bottom, I think.
Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, so I think that's all of our preliminary matters. Then we will now proceed to address the list itself. Mr. Wade, you said there was a request for out of order.
There was
hearing?
a request for 36. I don't know if counsel for the city is ready or not, though.
Mr. Chairman, did we deal with 37 and 38? I have a note that that's also a corporate matter.
Okay, 37. We did not deal with that. Okay, you're right.
I believe 37 and 38 is. Do we have council listed?
For 15,000 East Roosevelt Boulevard, International Management Consultants.
Mr. Chairman, Alexander Barth of Cohen Seglius on behalf of IMC Construction.
Okay, thank you very much. So we do have legal counsel. Okay.
It looks like Mr. Logue and Mr. Johnson have preliminary matters. If you want to take them, and then we can go to case 36.
Okay, Mr. Logue, you're muted, sir.
Good afternoon again, Chairman Woodson and members of the board. I did just want to raise, apologize for not raising it previously, a standing issue with case number 18 on our list. Appeal ending in 3942. Address is 2264 North 18th Street. The appellant is Andre Young, and it's unclear what his relationship to the property is. The record owner is a Robert Young. I believe he's deceased. So I wanted to see if Mr. Young was present so that we could address the standing issue.
Okay, Mr. Andre Young, are you present? Andre Young. Anyone else present representing the interests of 2264 North 18th Street? Anyone present? Okay, Mr. Wade, just confirm service, please.
Andre Young listed 2264 North 18th Street. Notice of this hearing was sent to 2264 North 18th Street on November 20th.
Okay, no response. Mr. Logue, what is your pleasure?
The city requests that the late appeal request be denied.
Okay. Andre Young did not respond when called. This request has been denied.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alrighty. Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, one last preliminary matter for number 10, HA 2024-003857, 2840 North Lee Street. There was the appellant in that case was John Sosalski, but the property is owned by an LLC, and an attorney was entered on the case today and submitted a request to continue the matter because he just literally was retained about an hour ago. It's William McLaughlin, and he's on the call.
Okay, Mr. McLaughlin.
Good afternoon, members of the board, and that is correct.
Okay, so you're counsel for North Lee Street.
That's correct, yes.
And please state your request for an appeal.
I'm requesting a short continuance of this matter. There was a corporate ownership dispute that I need to get to the bottom of, and therefore I'm requesting a short continuance in order to present this matter.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, any response?
City has no objection.
Okay, we will, based on that, we will continue this matter.
Thank you, members of the board. May I be excused?
Yes, sir.
And good afternoon, Mr. McLaughlin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pincus, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Okay. I think that's it. Now let's go to 36, I believe. Is that the request?
Yeah,
for out of order?
If Mr. Begelman is around, he needed to step away.
Yeah.
I'm present. I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay,
This
let's
is
call
case number 36, hearing appeal ending 4523, 5300 Lansdowne Ave, David Slap.
Okay. And we have counsel for the appellant.
We do, Your Honor. Stephen Wigriser. I was just recently retained for the limited partnership.
Okay. This is a request for a non-proton hearing to be scheduled. So what we need to do is hear from you, Mr. Wigriser, as to why we should grant the request for a non-proton.
Yes, I'm happy to oblige. Just for the record, Mr. Slap is also present. He's currently muted, but he's available to give testimony if necessary. Mr. Slap is and has been for quite a period of time a resident of the state of Florida. The notices of violations and I believe a cease and desist order have been mailed to 265 East Lancaster Avenue in Ardmore. Mr. Slap does not reside at that address. A little more than 5 years ago, he did business at that address. He's not been receiving notices or orders. He's an owner out of possession. And to complicate matters, his tenant, who will be leaving at the end of the year, sublet, despite a lease restriction, the matter to another property owner, who Mr. Slap is currently working with in an effort to bring the property up to compliance. But he did not receive notice of prior violations and would like the opportunity to have his appeal heard. Of course, in the interim, he will work with the city to try to resolve anything that's outstanding.
Mr. Begelman, any response?
Yes, the city opposes the non-proton request. A late appeal should only be granted where there's been fraud or breakdown in the tribunal's operations or where there's some non-negligent circumstances that prevented an appellant from filing a timely appeal. Here, the notices of violations were sent to, and the intent to cease were sent to at least 4 different addresses. One of them in particular was the address on file with the City of Philadelphia Office of Property Assessment for this property at 5300 Lansdowne Avenue. That address was 265 East Lancaster Avenue in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. The notices of violation, the intent to cease, went to the proper addresses it is up to the owner of any property in the city to update their address with the city of Philadelphia so that notices such as these are received at the right place by the right people. And so the city's position is that the request for a late appeal should be denied.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman, if I may respond, notice of a violation is a basic principle of fundamental fairness here. You can't respond to a violation you don't know about. He is an owner out of possession. He was not doing business, nor did he live at 265 East Lancaster Avenue. Moreover, Mr. Slapp will testify that he has made numerous efforts to ensure that the city of Philadelphia and the Department of L&I has his correct address. In fact, I believe that they now do. So I think it's the city's obligation to provide notice of orders and violation notices, cease and desist orders, and what have you. And it's unreasonable to deny this motion where Mr. Slapp has not had an opportunity to review the orders and take whatever appeals are necessary.
Mr. McBriser, we probably want to hear from your client then, because the city has noted that it mailed notices to several addresses, including one in Florida.
I can.
I'm not sure who that person is who's speaking. Who is that?
I want to correct the record, Mr. Chairman. I did not say that the notice was sent to the Florida address. The notice was sent to multiple different addresses, one of which is the address that the city Office of Property Assessment has on file as the mailing address for this property, which is the one in Arlington.
I'm David Slapp.
Okay, so sir, you're speaking out of turn just for a moment. Your attorney has to call you, put you on. We need to swear you in so that we can do this more formally. Okay, Mr. Bigweiser?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I call David Slapp, who is the sole partner for DB Properties. I'm sorry, DB Storage LP.
Thank you. Mr. Slapp, raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Okay, so Mr. Slapp, you will respond to questions from Mr. Wigweiser. That way we can get through this quickly. We don't have a long narrative discussion. Mr. Wigweiser?
Sure, thank you very much. Mr. Slapp, could you explain the underlying factual circumstances for your motion to take an appeal non-pro-tonque?
Yes, there were 4 addresses that the city was mailing to, and none of the 4 of them were correct addresses. I brought this up at a hearing. There was just a hearing on August 27th in this court that I brought to them and changed the addresses for the second time, in that I had already done it previously by email and by verbal with L&I's office. But at that hearing, I did not have an attorney. I didn't know that I didn't have an attorney. So they set forth another hearing that I got no notices for, and they had my Florida address. And I will point out that I just got a notice a month ago where the city has had all of the Florida address, and they're still, to this day, they're still sending notices to 265 East Lancaster Avenue, which I have not been there in 5 years.
Okay, Mr. Wigweiser, I guess the other issue here is we want to hear specific acts or steps taken to formally change the address in the system.
Okay.
And
Mr.
where
Slapp,
evidence of that?
Yeah. Could you please tell us what steps you took over the
At
past
the-
year to formally change your address in the city system or the L&I system?
Okay, on the last hearing on August 27th, I believe, I went into it should be recorded. It was either in the room or, I've told them the reason I did not get the reason I had I wasn't ready to present was that I haven't been receiving anything. And I have called, I possibly have emails to back this up. I'm not sure at this moment, but
Mr. Wigweiser, do you have any documentation you want to put on the record?
I have none regarding the change of address.
Okay.
May I short circuit this, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
On the violation notice that you're appealing is dated April the 5th of 2023. You're referencing a hearing, Mr. Slapp, that took place in August of 2024. My question to you is, do you have anything to present to us today that as of April the 5th, 2023, the city of Philadelphia had knowledge, or you had provided to the city some piece of documentation confirming you have a business address where the city could notify you in Florida? As of April 5th, 2023, do you have evidence that you had submitted to the city and they were on notice that your business address is in Florida and not in the suburbs of Philadelphia? Do you have that with you today? Can you present it?
I think Mr. Pincus is asking about documents. What steps did you take, if any, to notify the city about your change of address?
I don't have the answer to that. I know that it was done. I did not know that this has happened. I've been working on this so long, I can't even tell you. There were 4 errant addresses. The 4 errant addresses are still, the city is still sending them out. I mean, I don't know. I'm flabbergasted.
I mean, as the owner, you are responsible for updating the records. Did you go into any of the records and change your address?
So the biggest problem that I have is that the tenant that was in there.
Mr. Slapp, you have not answered my question.
You got to answer the question, Mr. Slapp.
I don't have documentation right now.
That wasn't my question. That you didn't answer. Listen to my question. Did you go into the system, either you or your representative, and change your address? You can do that as the owner of a property. You can update your mailing address. Did you do that?
I did not.
Okay.
I was told though that there were other ways to do that. That was not.
Okay.
Well, what can you elucidate on that, please? What other ways were you told you could?
I gave it to them verbally. I emailed. I know that. I mean, I guess I can understand the court's point in this. If I had said, I've tried last week and I did this, or a year ago, whatever it was, but this has been a constant at least 3 to 5 times.
Well,
I didn't do it the way you're asking.
Mr. Wigweiser, you can appreciate the point that it's as simple as going into the system and updating your address, or having a Philadelphia representative to represent your interests.
Okay, well, I was not representing his interest at the time, so that would not have accomplished it.
I'm not saying you, but if you own investment property in the city of Philadelphia and you live outside of the city, that's why they require you have a Philadelphia representative, whether legal counsel or someone else, who can be receipt of all your business correspondence and respond when there are issues.
Yes, sir. The point is not lost on me, but unfortunately, the point may have been lost on Mr. Slapp.
Okay.
And we're just appealing to the equity and discretion of the board here to give Mr. Slapp an opportunity to be heard on an appeal about a violation notice that factually he did not receive. I'm not alleging negligence on the part of the city of Philadelphia, not making any such allegation. But just as a matter of fundamental fairness, he can't appeal an order he didn't know about. And I would ask that the board exercise its discretion to permit this appeal at this point.
We have very limited discretion according to existing law, unless there's an extraordinary circumstance. Mr. Begelman, any response before we make a decision here?
Very briefly, Mr. Chairman, as I mentioned at the start of this argument, this is appellant's burden today to show that he cannot file a timely appeal due to non-negligent circumstances that were outside of his control. I understand his position that he resides predominantly in Florida. However, as the property owner of 5300 Lansdowne Avenue, he's required to update his mailing address with the City Office of Property Assessment. And there's been no evidence presented at this hearing that he attempted to do so prior to April 2023, when the notice of violation underlying this appeal was issued. And so for that reason, the request for a nunc-pro-tunc hearing should be denied.
Mr. Chairman, I would simply add that Mr. Slapp's actions, while perhaps not being in full compliance with Mr. Begelman's wishes or the opportunity that he had to change his record, change his address of record, are not negligence on his part. I mean, he's paid his taxes, he's not in default of anything else. So the circumstance presented is a non-negligent explanation in our view, and I'd ask that you take that into consideration.
I'm going to do this.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, may we have a brief executive session, please?
Yes, we will go off the record for a moment. Yes, we will do that. Record. With regard to HA-2024-004523-5300 Lansdowne Avenue, David Slapp, the request for a non-pro-tunc hearing on this matter is denied. Thank you very much for your participation, Mr. Wickweiser, and have a good day. Mr. Slapp, have a good day. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, let's move on to the next matter.
I'll bring us back up to the top. I don't think
Okay.
there hasn't been any other. Actually, there's an agreement for case, and it's the water department's only matter.
Okay, let's put that on the record then.
Calling case 43, hearing appeal ending 4733, 4527 Baltimore Avenue. To hear, Maksud.
Okay, Ms. Nessich.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Wade. Mr. Houston and I have come to a settlement agreement to the underlying notice of violation that the city would agree to. City affirmed with a 30-day stay of enforcement. I suppose the preliminary matter would be that the city did not oppose the hearing, but yeah, the city affirmed with 30-day stay of enforcement.
Thank you. Mr. Houston, anything on the record you confirm?
I do confirm, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So this matter is resolved. Okay,
In
thank
that
you.
case, Chairman, may my witness be excused as well?
Yes, witnesses are excused, and
Thank
that
you.
closes that matter.
Thanks,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Okay, have a good day.
Take care.
Okay. Mr. Wade, where do we start?
Back up to the top of the list, which would be case number 9. Hearing appeal ending 3823, 5236 North Hussington Street, Deanna Scott.
Okay. Deanna Scott. Anyone
Yes.
present? Okay, Ms. Scott, just for a moment, let's see which lawyer is representing the city.
Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay. Ms. Scott, raise your right hand so that you may be sworn, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Did you raise your right hand? Did you swear or affirm the testimony you would give be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Given that this is a request by you for a non-pro-tunc, meaning to file a late hearing date, we will ask you to present first and ask the city to respond. Are you okay with that, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Scott, so explain to us why we should permit you to file your appeal late.
Because I didn't know for sure that this situation out here that's in a alleyway was a part of my property.
Okay, did you get a violation notice?
Yes, I did.
And what did the violation notice tell you to do if you wanted to appeal?
It said to write it and then appeal it.
And okay, and did it tell you when you had to do that?
Well, I had got my mail late. It's some issues with the mailing
Oh,
on
you
this
didn't
block.
answer. No, you didn't answer my question. I said, did you see what it told you to do and when you had to do it?
Yes, and by the time I saw that, the appeal was over with. That's why I submitted the late appeal. I had just got the letter.
Okay, we need more than that. We need to know when you got this letter and what was the appeal date.
I don't have the letter in front of me because I'm not there right now.
Ms. Scott,
But
wait, Ms. Scott, this is your request for an exception to the rule. So you need to be
Yes.
prepared to present your case. If you aren't, then that's another matter.
Well, I don't have the paper on me right now, but I know that it said appeal by August the 20 something, but I didn't get it. I didn't get the letter until after that date.
Did your address change?
No, my address didn't change.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Mr. Johnson, any
If I
response?
may,
Yes.
Ms. Scott, you're aware that there was a retaining wall that collapsed adjacent to the property at 5236 North Hutchinson Street, correct?
It was a retaining wall that collapsed, but it wasn't on my property. It was across on a drop across the alleyway. Nothing fell on my home at all. It was across the alleyway. That's my whole fight. How I'm getting charged for something that's not even on my property is across the alleyway.
And I just want to be clear. I have no more questions for Ms. Scott.
Okay.
Any
But
argument at
I
all?
would say, so this is a case where the date of the notice in question is July 24th, 2024, notifying her the unsafe condition due to the retaining wall collapse. And this may have been a situation where other property owners were cited as well because it was a retaining wall. But at the end of the day, the law requires that she show that there was fraud or breakdown or administrative breakdown. And I don't think she's met her burden on this.
Okay. And I guess I'm going to ask Mr. Wade. This may be a bit unusual. Mr. Wade, do we have any cases scheduled for wall cases scheduled for the Hutchinson Street or related?
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, if as Ms. Scott is alleging, that wall could arguably be on properties on a street, the one street over from Hutchison Street, and belong to the owner of that property. So it may have a different street from which the violations may have been issued. I'd have to put up a map in front of me to look at.
I have 5 appeals for 5200 North Hutchinson Street.
Okay.
One of which is closed. Hold on 1 second. One of which was closed for a late hearing denial as well.
Okay. So Ms. Scott, oh, I'm sorry, we have another question? Ms. Penn?
No, I didn't have a question, Mr. Chairman. I was when you've completed your questioning, I was going to ask if we could go back into executive session because I have a question regarding the paperwork that Ms. Scott received, and I think I need to bring it to the board's attention.
Okay. All right. Ms. Scott, do you know if any of your neighbors have submitted appeals?
Yes, a couple of them said they did submit appeals.
Okay. And do you know if they received violation notices the same time you did?
I'm not sure. Like I said, everyone was saying that, well, for what I know, everyone's saying that they got theirs late. So I don't know. That's what they said to me. So I don't know for sure.
Okay. And have you and your neighbors had any meetings or discussions as to how to respond to this?
No, I haven't been to any meetings. I'm just all for my, worrying about my property and me.
Okay. Well, you understand before we go into executive session, just one quick thing. Retaining walls become the responsibility of everybody along the wall. Sometimes that includes, well, let me finish. Sometimes that includes people across the alleyway because of the way the property lines run. And so you don't really know until you get a notice of determination from the streets department. They may include all you and all your neighbors. So that's so it's a good idea to talk to them to find out what everybody's doing. Okay, we're going to go in executive session for a few moments. City is represented by Mr. Johnson. Okay, given that this is a wall case and there's a 5-day notice, and your sworn testimony is that you did not receive it within the 5-day period, we're going to grant your request for a non-proton hearing. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. You have other matters with us?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the next one on my list is, I think we've dealt with number 10. The next one would be 11.
Okay. Well, we'll call Mr. Wade, call number 11.
Case number 11, hearing appeal ending 3860, 6363 Cherokee Street, Turhan Bay.
Okay, Turan Bay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Bay, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give will be the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Bay, you've submitted a request to have a late hearing date.
And
Uh,
if I may, there's a preliminary issue that the board needs to be aware of with this case.
okay,
After searching the city's records, I noticed that on Philodocs, there's no deed showing Mr. Bay as the current owner of the property. And additionally, there was no, so the OPA still has the owners listed as, hold on one second. The owners listed on the OPA were John Weldon and Alberta Weldon, husband and
okay,
wife.
okay. Mr. Bay, what is your relationship to this property?
It is my property, and those were the people I bought it from about 30 years ago.
And so you have a deed that substantiates, that says that deed transfer? You have a recorded deed?
I could go back and look at the settlement sheet from 30 years ago.
Okay.
You're making me aware of something that I was not aware of.
Okay, you have a
All the
recorded
bills
deed?
that come from the city, the water
Okay,
bills,
okay,
everything.
okay,
In
Mr.
my
Bay.
name.
Mr. Bay?
Yes.
You have to listen.
Okay.
Do you have a recorded deed for the property?
Not in my possession, no. I never looked for it.
Okay, well, do you have doesn't necessarily, I'm not asking if you have it in front of you as we speak. I'm asking if you have it in your possession and with your important documents, a recorded deed for this address.
I'm not aware if I do, sir.
So you don't think you ever got a recorded deed after settlement?
Evidently I didn't, or maybe I do, and maybe it got dropped with the city recording it.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I believe I could look it up. Mr. Johnson has easy access to Philodocs.
I can show the screen. And this is why it's a little bit confusing, is that I know that there's encumbrances on the property, mortgages and the like, that have been filed by Mr. Bay, but there's no recorded deed showing him as the owner, as shown on Philodocs. There is no most recent deed on Philodocs for that property. So, and I'll share my screen and show you exactly what it says.
Okay.
It's again. Okay, wait, let me find that.
I wonder if it goes by a different address.
Well, that's I think Mr. Bay should.
There's something I have to investigate on this.
Bear the burden of showing that, because this is his request. And okay, I'm showing.
Okay, what we're going to need to do then is probably continue this hearing to Mr. Bay. You got to come back and prove that you're the owner.
Okay. May I ask a question?
Sure.
When I buy a piece of property and we go to settlement and everything like that, doesn't the city supposed to record the deed? I'm supposed to, or the city?
Absolutely, and you should get a copy of that recorded deed for your record. So this kind of situation doesn't, if it occurs, you have your recorded deed, you can prove that you're the owner.
Right, I understand, but somewhere along the ball got dropped.
Well, I don't know who dropped the ball, but as the property owner, that includes you.
Okay, I understand. I'll do my due diligence to find out,
And you have a mortgage, on the property, Mr. Bay.
Correct.
So somebody thought you had a deed, or they wouldn't have given you a mortgage.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so let's do this. I know this creates a bit of a backlog, but we want to be consistent in our approach to these things. So we need to continue this matter to Mr. Bay can resolve this issue of ownership and standing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, Mr. Bay, you acquired title insurance at the time that you purchased the property. You may want to check with your title insurance company, they should have they should have the copy of the original
Oh,
deed as well.
Thank you for the guidance.
Yeah.
You're
This is
welcome,
new
sir.
territory for me. Thanks for the guidance, sir. I
Okay.
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Mr. Bay, is this the only investment property that you own?
No,
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Johnson, anything else you think?
Not at this time.
Okay. So we will continue this matter.
well, I get something in the mail?
Yes, sir. You will.
Okay, excellent.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll do my due diligence and get this wrapped up.
Thank you. Okay.
Case number 12, hearing appeal ending 3862. 2224 North 4th Street, Polino Torres.
Okay.
No one in the room under that name. And
Okay.
notice Mr. Torres listed 4425 North 8th Street as their mailing address.
Okay.
Since
And
the applicant had failed to appear at this hearing, the city is requesting that the request for non-proton relief be denied.
Thank you. Mr. Wade, I didn't hear for the record the date.
Notice of this hearing was sent to 4425 North 8th Street on November 20th.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Torres is not present today. The request for non-proton hearing is denied. Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson, anything else?
The next case on the list.
Oh, that was yours as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Case number 13, hearing appeal ending 3874. 6601 Lawton Ave, Kenneth Olson.
Kenneth Olson, you present? Kenneth Olson. Anyone present representing the interests of Kenneth Olson, 6601 Lawton Avenue?
Mr. Olson listed 6601 Lawton Ave as his mailing address. Notices this hearing was sent to 6601 Lawton on November 20th.
Okay, thank you very
I
much.
believe he was here earlier, but
I did not see him.
I guess not.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, what is your pleasure?
The city is requesting that the request for untimely non-proton relief be denied.
Okay, thank you. This request for non-proton hearing is denied. Mr. Olson is not present. Thank you very much. I believe that completes your business before us today, Mr. Johnson.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
But I know that Mr. Kraser had asked to talk to me in a breakout room.
I just got a message that Mr. Olson is on the Zoom as phone only.
He didn't respond.
Did not respond.
Okay.
I only have one phone.
Oh, do you see his phone or his name?
I don't see his name.
Dropped off.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, do you have, let's do this then, so that we can continue on with that day. If he does come back in, we will consider to whether we should reconsider his request. Okay.
I have more matters here. And if it please the board, could I talk to Mr. Kraser in the breakout now?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Mr. Who? Who are you speaking with?
Kraser.
Okay, hold on one second. I can't see.
He was in room 5.
Yeah, you both. Okay, thank you. Okay, that brings us to case 19.
Okay.
Hearing appeal ending 3948. 436 Cosgrove Street, MBA Rentals LLC.
Okay, who's handling that matter for the city?
I believe Mr. Johnson is handling that for the city.
Okay, we'll pass that then until he completes this breakout room session. Let's move on.
For the record, he's also handling numbers 19 through 24.
Okay, thank you. That helps.
Go to matter 25.
His
Hearing appeal.
lucky day.
Matter 25, hearing appeal ending 4084, 1908 Judson Street, Sheree Barrett.
Good afternoon, Sean Loeb for the city.
Good afternoon, Mr. Logue. Ms. Sheree Barrett.
Yes, hello, I'm here.
Okay, Ms. Barrett, can you turn on your video, please?
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Okay, maybe Mr. Wade, can you give her a prompt to help her do that?
I think it's *9 or *6. Do you have a smartphone?
Yes, I have an iPhone.
Okay. There's nothing on the bottom of the screen.
Okay, it's directing me to settings and okay, I'm gonna put camera on.
There may be something that says video on. Ms. Barrett, are you with us?
Hello?
Okay, it seems like we've lost her. Well, let's do this. Mr. Logue, we're going to have to pass this and come back. These technical difficulties, Ms. Barrett is not
She's hung up.
responsive. Yeah, so we want to come back. We don't want to,
Case
we'll skip over this and come back to it.
No problem.
Case 26.
Okay.
Hearing appeal ending 4284, 4551 Byberry Road, Douglas Edwards.
And I'm also handling case number 26, Sean Loeb.
Okay. All right, thank you. Douglas Edwards. Is Douglas Edwards present?
Yes.
I see a Doug Edwards who's muted. Mr. Edwards, are you?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, but sir, are you driving in a vehicle?
I'm pulling over right now, yes.
Okay, we can't hear your case unless she's parked in a safe place.
Right, okay. I'm pulling off right now on the road. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, the court, just want to check in with the court reporter. Can you hear Mr. Edwards' voice clearly enough?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
great.
thank you. Mr. Edwards, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sir, would we like to hear your presentation as to why we should grant you a non-proton hearing or late hearing request?
I never received the notice. I didn't find out about the violation until I was at my city councilman's office and they looked up my lot number with some other issues that we were dealing with there. And they came up and said, hey, you know, you have this notice here from Cliff. And the notice does not have a mailing address. It only had the property address, which is a vacant lot. And there was no address for me or my name on it. And until I filed the appeal, then they got my address and then they sent me a notice. But that wasn't until a month after the appeal was sent in.
Okay. Any response from the city, Mr. Lowe?
Yes, so the notice that Mr. Edwards referenced is the public notice, which is the notice that you would find on the OPA page. There was an initial notice of violation dated April 26, 2024 that went to the OPA address on file for the subject premises. That's the same address that Mr. Edwards included on his appeal form. 769 Cliff Road, Ben Salem, Pennsylvania.
Okay, was Mr. Lowe, was the initial notice sent to that Ben Salem address?
Yes, it was.
Okay, Mr. Edwards?
Yeah, I never received any notice at all about any violation at that time. I did not receive it until I actually received something else from the city on or about October 3rd, I think the 2nd. And that's when I went to the councilman's office and that's when they pulled this notification up.
So have you received any correspondence from the city at your home address or whatever mailing address you've given the city?
Prior to this, yes. Well, my tax information and all that tax bills, yes.
And what address do you normally have you been using?
That Ben Salem address for 20 years that I've owned the property, yes.
Okay, but you've never received any communication from the city regarding that this Byberry Road address.
With the violation, no. No, I never received anything from the city until October, around October 3rd. I got one from for another matter, but like my taxes I would get and my assessments I would get, but I never got any other notification of a violation or anything like that from the city until right around October 2nd or so, and then the next day I went to the councilman's office to check into it.
Okay, Mr. Logue, what is the OPA saying for that what's the mailing address?
The OPA address for 4451 Byberry Road is the address that Mr. Edwards lists on his appeal, and it's the address where notice was sent, which is 769 Cliff Road in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania.
So both addresses are noted.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, could we ask the city to put as part of, I don't know if it was included, Mr. Logue, I didn't have a chance to review your entire packet, but do you have the original NOV with the mailing address on it? Because on the appeal, there's no mailing address.
I do, yes. I can share my screen showing.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's April 2024?
Yes, the date of the notice is April 26, 2024.
Okay. But the notice, Ms. Penn, the notice that you have in our packet does not have a mailing address?
Correct.
Well, as I said, I did not review Mr. Logue's exhibits. I'm looking at the appeal papers and
Okay.
the violation notice in order to correct, that's part of the appeal package. There's no mailing address on the violation notice.
Right.
Okay.
That's the public notice, which is accessible to anyone, not just.
No, I understand that. I just wanted to be sure that they, that it was no different.
So which notice was mailed to the owner of the property, Mr. Logue?
The initial violation notice in order to correct dated April 26, 2024 was mailed to the OPA address.
Meaning the Byberry Road address?
Yeah, so that public notice is also generated at the same time, and that's accessible via OPA to members of the public, not just the responsible party.
Okay, so it did not go to his Ben Salem address.
No, it did.
No, it did go to the
okay.
Which is the
okay. Okay. So any response to that, Mr. Edwards, given the city has indicated that it did in fact go to your Byberry Road address?
Ben Salem address, you mean?
My apologies, Ben Salem address. Yeah.
Yeah. I can assure you, if I get a notification, I act on it. The day after I got another notification for a different issue, I was at my councilman's office trying to get it taken care of and getting it rectified. So if I had received notice, I would have acted promptly. But I can assure you, I did not get that April notification at all.
And when did you did receive a violation notice?
When I went to my councilman's office and they pulled up a search and said, "Hey, there's a violation notice here from Clip." So when they printed that out for me, the very next, I think that day, I went online and filed the appeals. And then I found out that I had to file a late appeal, like a week after I turned it in. So then I went online and filed the late appeal. So as soon as I got notification of any of that information, I filed appeals right away.
And so is it your testimony today that other than what was printed out for you at the council person's office, you never received formal notice of the violation?
Correct.
Mr. Chair, what was the date he was at his council office?
Yeah. When did you go visit your council person's office?
I believe it was on October 3rd.
Okay. Any response, Mr. Logue, before we make a decision?
No, I would just reiterate where where notice was sent, which is the OPA address. I can't prove whether Mr. Edwards received it or not. I trust that he appealed promptly after meeting with his councilman, or as soon as he became aware of the violation, but notice was sent to the address on file, and given that non-proton relief should only be granted in extraordinary circumstances where there's a breakdown in the tribunal's process or due to non-negligent circumstances by the owner, the city requests that his request
Okay.
for a non-proton hearing be denied.
Okay. Mr. Edwards, in effect, you're saying that you've not ever received any additional written correspondence from the city regarding this violation notice?
Not until after I filed the appeal, and then they did send a notice to my house. That was the first time I got a notice, and that was dated on the, what was the date of that one? What's the hearing? Notice flip. That was dated on 11/20. That's the first time I received anything from Cliff, and that
Okay.
did come to my house.
Okay.
But that was a month after I filed the appeal.
Okay. I need to I need to check in with legal counsel. So just give us a moment, please. We'll go off the record just for a moment. My apologies for having to do this. This is
No, it's fine.
okay. I just need to check in regarding a matter. Let's do that, please. Regarding 4284-4551 Barberry Road. Mr. Edwards, question for you. You've received a number of other violations, etc., for this property. Which address were they addressed?
The other violations that were from L&I, which were they mailed to?
Yes.
They were mailed to the Cliff Road, Ben Salem address.
Okay. And this is the only one that you didn't get at that address, is your testimony.
Correct. Yes, I got the other ones to that address. They were issued September 26th, I believe. I received it on October 2nd, and I did the appeal on October 3rd.
Okay. All right. Well, based on your testimony, we're going to grant the request for a non-proton hearing. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
afternoon.
you very much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
You're
Take
welcome.
care. Have a good holiday.
Okay. Let's move on to the next matter. Mr. Wade, I think we're at 31, unless
Yes.
Mr. Johnson is back.
Case number 31, hearing appeal ending 4417, 3421 Ray Street. Faravar Kanani.
Okay. Who's representing the city?
John Wazorek on behalf of the city.
Afternoon, Mr. Missouri. Is anyone present representing the appellant at 3421 Ray Street? Faravar Kanani, Kiani. Anyone present? Anyone present? There's an iPhone 13 who's muted. I'm not sure who that person is. Sir, are you regarding 3421 Ray Street?
No, this is Cherie Barrett. I had got disconnected and came back.
Okay, hold on a moment, ma'am. We're hearing other cases for the moment, so just sit tight for a moment, okay?
Okay.
All right. Anyone present representing 3421 Ray Street? Okay, Mr. Wade.
Here, service was mailing address was 4384 Manioc Ave. Notice this hearing was sent to 4384 Manioc Ave on November 20th.
Okay. All righty. Mr. Missouri, what is your pleasure?
The city would request that the late appeal be denied for failure to appear.
Okay. The appellant is not present. The request for non-proton hearing is denied.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay.
We want to recall Cherie Barrett appeared to be driving. Do you want to recall that, or?
Who's?
Yeah, I'll pull over. I'm pulled over right now.
I think Mr. Johnson was representing.
No, I think that was Mr. Missouri.
Missouri? Oh, Mr. Loeb. That was Mr.
Loeb. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep, it was me, Chairman Woodson.
Recalling case 25, hearing appeal ending 4084, 1908 Judson, Cherie Barrett.
Okay. Miss Barrett?
Yes, hello.
Yes, we need your video.
Oh, thought I was up already.
Now you're up. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Loeb, you representing the city in this matter? You muted, Mr. Logue.
Sorry, I couldn't get to the button fast enough. Yes, it's Sean Logue representing the city.
Okay. All right. Ma'am, Ms. Sherry Barrett, this is your request for a late hearing. So we need you to make an argument that would convince us we should grant you that permission.
Okay, my argument is it's simple. I didn't receive the first notice. I received see, I'm not privy or I don't know how notices go, but I received the last notice. The notice I received October 1st, in which I went down to file for the petition for appeal on the 2nd. By this time, the matter had already been resolved and dealt with. However, I was waiting to hear back from the process of forming the late appeal.
Well, the issue was the address that the notice was sent to. What is that address?
My address is 1908 Judson Street, Philadelphia, PA 19121.
Okay, and that's the address that you received the late
The
last
final
notice.
Yeah, I guess the final one.
But you did not. Your testimony is you did not receive the first notice.
I didn't receive the initial notice where you take care of the problem or submit an appeal. I didn't receive that one.
Okay. Did you ever get a copy of that notice?
I got a copy of that notice when I went down to the city offices and filed for this one. They gave me a copy of the first one with the picture. The picture.
What address is on that notice?
The address that's on the first notice, the violation notice is my address, 1908 Judson Street.
Okay.
I got this notice when I filed for the appeal, which was after the 30 days.
Okay, Mr. Logue, any comment on that?
Yeah, it sounds like Ms. Barrett was referring to multiple notices. I believe there was only the one notice. It's a site violation notice.
Yeah, the site. I didn't get the initial.
Wait, no, ma'am, you can't speak while someone else is speaking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't get this.
No, because this has been recorded by a court reporter. Only one voice at a time.
Okay.
Mr. Logue, complete your statement, please.
Yeah, so for certain kinds of violations, as the board is aware, there's an initial notice issued. If the property owner does not appeal, then a final notice may be issued. This is a type of violation where there's only one notice issued. That is the site violation notice. It's dated August 9th, 2024. And to 1908 Judson Street, which is the address for the subject premises, as well as the mailing address for the OPA, or that's on the OPA account for 1908 North Judson Street. And it's the address that Ms. Barrett listed on her appeal form. And so the city's position is that Ms. Barrett did have notice of this violation, and because
just a moment, Mr. Logue. Miss Barrett?
Yes.
You're messing up my record. Every time you comment, your voice shows up. We can't have you saying anything while someone else is speaking.
He's lying. Okay.
I'm sorry. You speaking to me?
I'm listening to you, but he's not telling the truth.
Miss, did you understand what I just said?
I understand what you're saying.
So every time you make a comment, that messes up the record. You understand that, correct?
Oh, okay. All right, because it's being recorded. Okay, I got you.
I'm repeating. This is the fourth time I've said this.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Logue, please complete your presentation, please.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman Woodson. So I can't speak definitively to whether Ms. Barrett received the notice. All I can say is that the city has record of a notice being mailed to 1908 Judson Street. That notice is dated August 9th. Ms. Barrett filed her appeal on October 3rd. It is untimely by about 25 days. And so given that non-proton relief should only be granted in extraordinary circumstances when there's either a breakdown in the tribunal's process or the appellant can present non-negligent circumstances that explain why their appeal was filed untimely, the city requests that this appeal be denied.
Okay. Now, Mr. Logue, is there anything in the record that indicates that there were additional notices sent beyond the site violation notice?
No, I'm not seeing anything, Chairman Woodson. The only other violation I see for this property was from years ago.
Okay, so site violations generally only get one written notice. There are not additional final notices as with like permit issues, other code related matters.
That's correct, Chairman Wilson.
Okay, so Miss Barrett, what additional violation notices did you say you received?
What I was referring to, I should have just read what I put on this form, which is a statement of outstanding fees notice. That's what I received. So I didn't receive the initial site violation notice. I received the statement of outstanding fees notice. And when I received the statement of outstanding fees notice, that's why I was aware that there was an issue to go take care of something. I didn't receive the first notice. I received the statement of outstanding fees notice.
Okay.
And when I received that on October the 1st, I went down and filed paperwork at the city office regarding this issue.
Okay. Alrighty. And has there been any issues with receiving your mail?
Yes, it has.
What is that?
That I have not been receiving it, and that I don't have for whatever reason, I don't have a steady mail person. So, and I live on a block where I have multiple businesses and 2 shelters. So my mail sometimes go to 1900 and 1901. I'm the first house after 1900. But my mail, my packages especially, go to the other address for some reason. And for this particular item, in this particular piece of mail, I didn't receive any type of notice until I received the statement of outstanding fees.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Chairman Wilson, if I
yes,
could
sir.
just briefly elaborate,
Yes,
or
please.
attempt to explain. So the outstanding fees, I'm not aware of what that would have been. I can only say that there has been no fees issued for abatement work done. This violation was not complied by enforcement, and so whatever notice of outstanding fees that Ms. Barrett may have received, I don't believe those pertain to this particular violation.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. With regard to 4084 1908 Judson Street, Cherie Barrett, the request for non-pro tunc is granted. So you can have your late hearing, Ms. Barrett. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank
Excuse.
you.
Okay.
I'm excused to leave.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Mr. Wade, what do we have next?
Johnson has his hand raised.
Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for taking my request. With regard to number 23, it's the appeal HA 2024-004033, 325 Chestnut Street. I was able to have a conference about the matter with Attorney Kreiser and his client and Mr. Paralak from the AIU unit. And I think we're suggesting and we're asking respectfully that the board continue the matter. There are a couple other issues that are still in the administrative process regarding Torino with AIU, and there is a possibility that we may be able to resolve all of these at once, but we would need a little additional time. So could the board continue this, please?
Okay, is there anyone, is Mr. Kreiser present?
Yes,
Kreiser,
sir.
my problem. It's
Yeah.
Kreiser?
Yes, sir. I'm
Yeah,
present.
do you join in that request for continuance?
We do.
Okay, all right, we will note that it's continued.
Well,
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
is the city waiving the late issue of the late file?
No, we're not waiving any issues. And with regard to the timeliness issue, that's jurisdictional, and under the case law, the jurisdiction can be raised at any time and any point in litigation. So that is not waivable, and we are not waiving it.
Okay, so this is a request to continue this hearing for non-pro tunc. And you're saying that before this matter may get collapsed into other matters and be resolved with a universal settlement?
It's the intent of the parties to discuss resolution on a global resolution for all the violations.
Okay, global, my apologies.
Yes.
Okay, any
Thank you.
objection, Mr. Pincus?
No.
Okay,
I just have
all right.
I have a quick question. Is this going, I'm continuing this the next time it comes up, it'll be before a non-protunct hearing, correct?
Correct, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Unless something happens that moves it forward, but it'll be a non-proton.
And I think both parties would intend that it would be resolved if possible.
Yes, correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Can we be excused, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman?
Your excuse.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Okay, what do you have in order next?
We can go
Mr.
back,
Wade?
unless Mr. Johnson wants to consult with anyone, we can go back to his matters.
Okay, let's do that.
No, that I'm ready.
Case number 19, hearing appeal ending 3948, 436 Cosgrove Street, MBA Reynolds LLC.
Okay, who's present representing the interests of 436 Cosgrove, MBA Rentals? The record indicates as a Joseph Console, who's Esquire representing. Is that person present? Yes. Okay, Mr. Console? Would you place your name on the record, please? Oh, we can't hear you.
Did that fix it?
Yes.
All right. Attorney Johnson, could I speak to you about this before we go in front of the board, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
All right. I would request that Mr. Console be let into breakout room number 5.
I think the next matter's Chris, so that would bring us down to matters 37 and 38. Hearing number 37, hearing appeal ending 4662, 1500, I'm sorry, 15,000 East Roosevelt Boulevard. International Management Consultants doing business as IMC Construction, and appeal 38, ending 4663, 15,000 East Roosevelt Boulevard. International Management doing business as IMC Construction.
Okay, who's representing the city?
The Bagelman for the city.
Mr. Bagelman, and I believe we have Mr. Barth, who's representing the appellants.
Yes,
Yes.
Alexander Barth on behalf of IMC Construction.
Okay, Mr. Barth, given that this is a request for non-proton hearing relief, we'd like you to present. I assume you can present both as one presentation. Do you need to do 2 presentations?
We can do a single presentation for both.
Okay.
Chairman.
Please
And I'm
proceed.
here also with Alex Bayard of IMC Construction in case we need a witness to testify.
Okay.
On both of these matters, members of the board, IMC did not receive and still has not yet received the notice of violation. Their first understanding or knowledge about these existing violations was receipt of 2 separate invoices from RCB Revenue Collection Bureau dated August 15th from the Revenue Collection Bureau seeking to recover on both each one of these violations total $4,000 for a total of $8,000 aggregate on the 2 violations, seeking to collect those sums of money. IMC immediately reached out to L&I inquiring what these were for. Did not get a response to that, and then as a result came in after going back and forth and having numerous efforts to phone call and email with L&I, filed the appeal nunc-pro-tunc. But to date, they have no record of ever having received the notice of violation. I believe both of these, after looking on Atlas, these violations appear to be an audit violation as well as an uploading to Eclipse violation for 2 separate building permits.
Mr. Barth, for clarity's sake, are these construction sites or property owned by the appellant?
These are construction sites. IMC is the general contractor on these sites.
Okay. And Mr. Bagelman?
Yes, I understand it's a little bit hard to prove a negative here, but the licensing violation notices in both cases were sent to, and I can share my screen if
Yes.
the board would like.
Yes, please.
Hang on one moment. I'm sharing my screen. I believe you can see it now. This is the appeal form, the late request form and the appeal filed. This is HA 2024-004663 is the form I'm looking at, but it is, I'll represent identical as the other one that's on appeal today. The address listed from Brian Lemchak on behalf of IMC Construction was 3 Great Valley Parkway, Suite 2000, Malvern, PA 19355. The licensing violation notice was sent to 3 Great Valley Parkway, Suite 2000, Malvern, Pennsylvania 19355. I understand.
What date is that?
The date of notice is April 12th, 2024, and I believe it's the same date of notice as the other licensing violation notice at issue here. Again, it's hard to for anyone to prove a negative, but the licensing violation notice here was sent to the address represented by appellant as their mailing address.
Okay. Just scroll down. Do you have the other violation notice?
Not on this form, but if you give me a moment, I'll stop sharing and pull that up.
Well, no, I just want to confirm that it's the same address. That's all.
I just don't have the other notice pulled up right now, but I will. It is the same address on the Revenue Collection Bureau.
Okay.
That was referenced by the notice referenced by Mr. Barth. And if you give me a moment, I can find the other notice as well.
Okay, that'll be good. Thank you. Mr. Barth, while that's happening, what is your client's testimony in terms of what happened to the mail? I mean, city is clearly shown that it was mailed to the appropriate address.
Yes, and Mr. Bayard can testify if you'd like him to put on the simple fact of the matter is that IMC is a large general contractor in the city of Philadelphia. They respond to L&I notices in a timely and prompt manner. I generally represent them before the board if they have violations. In the event that they do, they would have addressed the violation. This was a audit request. I know that they communicated back and forth with the gentleman at L&I over the audit requests. I believe it was the email address for that audit request came in from R. William Michael or Michael R. William. Not sure how that one reads. There was also a CC to a Mark Slade with regard to the audit request. And in response to that, I guess it appears that the notice of violation would have been sent based upon what the city is showing on April, it looked like the 12th. However, that notice of violation was never received at IMC, or they would have timely filed an appeal. When they received the RCB collection notice, I can share the screen to show an immediate outreach from Lisa Cox to Jose Ramos at the city, showing the request for payment because they were confused as to why they were getting this request for payment when they had never seen an original violation. And then this appeal flowed from there. So they're just asking for an opportunity to present before the board their compliance.
But the issue simply for today is whether or not a late hearing issue would be authorized. And I guess I need to hear from your client as to, or an explanation as to why they don't believe they received the mail.
Yes, absolutely, and happy to have him testify.
Yes.
We'd swear him in.
Yes. Mr. Baker, you can.
I'll stop sharing my screen, but just very briefly, this was the other violation notice issued.
Okay.
The other appeal showing the same address.
Same address. Okay. This is the license violation notice. Okay. No subs. Okay. Thank you. All right. Your client is, sir?
Alex Bayard.
Mr. Bayard, raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Barth, would you mind putting on, introducing formally your witness?
Yes. Mr. Bayard, can you state your position at IMC Construction?
Yes, I am a senior project manager with IMC.
Yes. And Mr. Bayard, in your responsibilities, you would have responsibility over the books and records with regard to this project.
Yes, that's correct.
Can you explain to the board, did you or did IMC, to your knowledge, ever receive a copy of the initial notice of violations, two initial notices of violation put on the screen by Mr. Begelman that we just saw?
No, we did not.
When did you first learn of the violations?
Subsequent to that in August, as you mentioned.
And members of the board, if I can share screen just to.
Yes.
I know I had put these, I had submitted these to the board earlier this week. I'm not sure if you guys can now see that.
No, that's much too small. You can make it larger, please.
Is it not showing up for you? It went crazy on mine as well. Give me 1 second. Stop sharing. Let me see if I can get this to work this time. That coming through at all?
We have a blank sheet. There you
Right
go.
here.
But that's over. Yeah, there. That's better. Perfect.
Yes. Mr. Bayard, looking at what has been marked as Exhibit A on August 15th, 2024, letter to IMC at from the Revenue Collection Bureau, Inc. Is it your testimony that this is the first notice you received regarding this violation?
Yes.
And this is a request for payment of $4,000 for those violations?
Correct.
And looking at what's marked as Exhibit B, similarly, in the second matter, which are being heard concurrently right now, you received this at the same time, this second payment request for $4,000 based upon the violation?
Yes, correct.
And what, if anything, did IMC do after receiving these notices?
As soon as we received that, we reached out to LNI to try to resolve the matter.
To date, have you ever received a copy of the notice of violation?
No.
I think that is
Okay.
And is that the correct address that is listed on the RCB or the Revenue Collection Bureau, Inc. notice to you guys, the 3 Great Valley Parkway, Suite 2000?
It's technically Suite 200, but 3 Great Valley Parkway is correct.
All right.
But you did receive this notice.
Yes.
Was it in hard copy or via email? Digital.
Hard copy to my knowledge.
Okay. All right. Sir, you aren't the person who handles all incoming mail, are you?
No.
So is it possible that someone just missed it?
Theoretically, yes.
Because I assume you get hundreds of pieces of mail a day.
Presumably the receptionist does, yes.
Okay, and so the receptionist would be the person who would be handling, sorting, and distributing mail that comes in.
Yes, she's an administrative professional who always gets the mail where it needs to go.
Okay. All right.
And Mr. Bayard, would that mail have come to you if she had been processing a notice of violation from LNI?
Yes, I'm the lead person on the project.
Are you the only senior project manager?
The only person of that title. There are other team members.
Okay, so if it was a different project, you have a big company, so if you wouldn't get everybody's stuff, it'd be sorted by project, correct?
That's accurate.
Is anything on this letter that would indicate which project it is?
I would think the construction site address maybe, or building permit number.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be honest,
I'd
to
have to
the
check
board, we've never received the note. I did briefly see the notice of violation when it was put up by Mr. Begelman, but we've never actually seen it, so we don't know what it would say.
Well, let's put it back up. If you could take yours down, Mr. Baker, and put your notice back up, please.
As part of this, may I ask a few questions on cross?
Yes, sure,
Mr. Barth is
absolutely.
finished.
Yes.
I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to bring up the appeal form that was filed by appellant. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Bayer, do you recognize this document?
This is the first I'm seeing it.
Okay. Will you agree this is the late appeal form filed by Brian Lemchek on behalf of IMC?
Yes.
Okay. And he's an employee at IMC?
Yes.
Or Brian Lemchek. I don't know what name I said. Thank you. I'm gonna scroll down. I think you'll recognize this document.
Yes.
Did you complete is this the appeal form of violation notice CF 2024-020790?
Yes, I filled that form out.
You fill this form out, and that's your signature on the bottom?
Yes.
What date did you fill out this form?
October 28th.
Okay, and you stated, and attached to this form, is this the licensing violation notice that I shared previously?
I agree. That's what you shared on your screen previously.
This is the appeal form that was submitted on behalf of IMC Construction, correct?
The upper half of your screen, yes.
Okay.
But the slower half, this is the first I'm seeing that form. In our records, we do not have that.
Okay. Regardless, the date of this appeal was October 28th, 2024. The revenue collection notice you discussed previously with Mr. Barth, that had a date of August 15th, 2024. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that you immediately reached out to the department?
Yes, Mr. Barth referred to our office's efforts to reach out to Jose Ramos at the city.
But this appeal form was not filed till the end of October, right?
That's true.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Begum, while you're up, though, I'd like to see how the original notice was formatted. Is that it?
This is it.
Okay. And just wanted to see if there's any distinguishing data that would identify the problem location.
I will keep scrolling.
It states, Mr. Chairman, under location 15,000 East Roosevelt Boulevard, right to the right of each one. So the project location is cited right there.
Okay.
And I will just note for the record, as was testified, both of these notices actually do have an incorrect suite number. It says suite 2000 as opposed to suite 200, just as a reference.
Okay. Excuse me. And your company basically occupies most of that space? IMC?
We occupy the second floor of the building.
Okay, so there's no suite 200 in the building, correct?
We occupy suite 200.
Oh,
Suite
my
2000
apologies.
Suite 2000 is an error. It should be suite 200.
Mr. Baird?
Yes, that's accurate. We occupy suite 200.
So there's no suite 2000. I misspoke earlier.
Correct. Not to my knowledge, that does not exist.
Okay. But all of this communication occurred prior to you submitting the request for the appeal, which was in October. Unless I have my dates wrong.
That sounds right.
November 1. Okay. Alrighty. Anything else, Mr. Begelman?
Just a brief argument when the board is ready.
Yes.
But nothing further with the witness.
Yeah. Mr. Baird, Mr. Barth, rather, anything else?
Nothing more for, let me just see. I don't want to get into the merits of the argument, obviously. Mr. Bayard, if I can share screen again.
And actually, I do have one final question, sir, while you're looking for your document. Is there any reason why it took so long to submit the appeal after you confirmed notice?
That question's to me, Mr. Chair.
Well, your attorney, Mr. Barth, he can have you answer it, or he can, if there's a better way to respond.
Yes. So Mr. Chairman, upon having received the notice from Revenue Collection Bureau, IMC did reach out to LNI on multiple occasions in an effort to determine what that was for, trying to determine why they were receiving a request for payment of a violation they had never seen before. And Mr. Bayard, these emails that you provided, this is marked as Exhibit D. These are emails from Lisa Cox at IMC to a Jose Ramos.
Correct.
And does Lisa Cox work for your department?
Yes.
Does she work for you directly?
On this project, yes.
All right. And this is her inquiring of Mr. Ramos with regard to the collections.
Yes.
And this is, trying to see the date,
It
September 5th.
doesn't say collections anywhere unless there's a place where it says it.
No, it says 1500 Roosevelt Boulevard. Would it be
Right.
possible to call me to discuss the attached documentation?
And what's attached?
When we go down, this is, as you will see, these are the emails that go to the merits of it with regard to the audit request. So when they received the prior audit request back in the spring of 2024, these are emails that were circulated at that time that she was forwarding back to show compliance of the underlying audit request.
And I'll just briefly object just to the extent that we're getting into
Yeah,
the
and
merits.
that's why
of the
I didn't want to get
I know
into
Mr.
involved
Barth-
in that. She
Yes,
was
I just wanted
she was
to-
inquiring of Mr. Ramos of these issues because she didn't understand why a fine had been coming in when they hadn't received a violation to appeal.
Okay. And Mr. Baird, were you,
If I very briefly,
yes,
Mr. Chair, I apologize. Was in Exhibit D, is that email sent to a Jose Ramos at Phila.gov?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have a witness for this, but I'll represent that there are two Jose Ramoses that work for the city of Philadelphia. One of them works for the water department, I believe, and the Jose Ramos that works for the Department of License and Inspections is actually Jose.A.Ramos@phila.gov. I understand I don't want to testify and I don't have a witness to testify to that effect, but I hope the board would take notice of that.
Yes, and the purpose of this email and Mr. Barrett's testimony is really just to show the efforts that they were making were to communicate with the City of Philadelphia Department of License and Inspections to inquire prior to filing a nunc-pro-tunc, because they didn't actually realize there was a violation that they had to appeal.
So I am the manager of the audits and investigation unit. I'm here to testify if you need.
wait. Who stepped into my hearing? Who
So,
did that?
I'm sorry. I'm the
No, Mr. Paralak, you don't do that.
I'm sorry. Just wanted to let you know I was here.
No, if you need to do that, you call the attorney. You don't step into the hearing.
Sorry.
Mr. Begelman, as we now know, you have access to a witness should you need one.
I don't believe that's necessary unless the board would like testimony as to the correct email address of Jose Ramos, but I don't believe, as Mr. Barth represented, that is
okay.
I understand what he is referencing the email for, so I don't believe the testimony is necessary.
Okay, unless one of my colleagues would like to hear from a witness for the city, I don't think there's a need for that. And I guess I would only ask Mr. Bayard. Mr. Bayard, were you aware of these communications back and forth?
Yes, Lisa's efforts to reach out to Jose, yes.
To Jose, she may or may not have the correct email address, but the issue though, it becomes your testimony is that she never received, nor did you ever see any kind of violation notice.
Correct.
Okay, now why did you wait until November to submit an appeal?
I suppose we were trying to figure out what it was for in between now and then, or then and now. Excuse me.
Okay. IMC has done a lot of work in the city of Philadelphia over the last 20 years or so, hasn't it?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. And you have a lot of contact with LNI during that time.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. We'll entertain final argument for Mr. Barth and then Mr. Begelman.
Yes, members of the board. We're just here, IMC is just here on their behalf, and I'm here on their behalf, seeking, obviously a nunc-pro-tunc appeal. IMC, to the testimony presented today, did not receive and has not received an original copy or the original notice of violation, and was unaware of the existence of the violation until it received a request for payment. Upon receiving that request, as the witness has testified, IMC used its contacts and made its efforts to reach out to the city in a timely manner in an effort to determine what it was being billed for. And once it was unable to get an adequate response, it decided to submit the appeal nunc-pro-tunc to a violation it still has yet to see. IMC has a longstanding relationship with the city, files appeals timely, takes L&I matters very seriously, and intends to continue to do so. So it just is asking the board's the board's acceptance of its application to proceed with this appeal nunc-pro-tunc.
Mr. Barth, for some reason your video went out.
Oh, I apologize. It's still on my thing, so I don't know why the internet is not complying. But yeah, so it's just we're just asking for the board's the board entertain its request to hear its appeal nunc-pro-tunc.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, can we take a brief?
Yeah, I want to hear from Mr. Begelman, then we'll take we can take a break. Yeah. Mr. Begelman?
Yeah, the request for nunc-pro-tunc should be denied. The International Management Consultants Inc. concededly received a revenue collection notice addressed to 3 Great Valley Parkway, Suite 2000. It's the same address that the licensing violation notices were sent to. The city will concede that an extra 0 was added to that suite number. However, the appellant has conceded that they did receive mail in the form of revenue collections notice to that exact same address with the extra digit added. Further, once they were made aware of the fact that a debt was owed per these licensing violation notices, they still did not file an appeal until over 2 months later on October 28th, and was not processed. I guess the initial appeal form was written on October 28th, but the late appeal request was not submitted until November 12th. And the appellant has not put forward evidence showing non-negligent circumstances or some unique circumstance that would require granting the nunc-pro-tunc request. And so for those reasons, the request for a late appeal hearing should be denied.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a short. With regard to HA-2024-004662, 15,000 East Roosevelt Boulevard, request for non-pro-tunc is granted. With regard to HA 2024-004663, 15,000 East Roosevelt Boulevard, IMC Management Consultants is the appellant in both matters. The request for a non-pro-tunc has been granted. Thank you, everyone. The witnesses are excused. And thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You too.
May I be excused?
Yes, please. Okay, Mr. Wade, where do we go next?
I believe Mr. Johnson has something to put on the record.
Okay.
I got it. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Yes, this is with regard to the appeal at number 19 on the list, HA 2024-003948, 436 Cosgrove Street, MBA Rentals. I had a chance to discuss the matter with Attorney Consul in the breakout room, and they've agreed to withdraw the appeal.
Okay, is Mr. Consul still present?
I'm here, and yes, we agree.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that when record will note that this matter has been withdrawn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Wade, do we have anyone else that we need to get back to or go to the list?
We can clean up Mr. Johnson's list.
Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Case number 22, hearing appeal ending 3960, 1913 Wallace Street, Andrew Molson.
And I don't believe Mr. Molson has appeared.
Okay, is there legal counsel for Mr. Molson?
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman Whitson. Bill O'Brien for Andrew Molson, who's also here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, let's do this then, Mr. O'Brien. Just want to make sure We have you on the record as the counsel.
I have not entered my appearance and I was just retained.
Okay, you proceed. Are you prepared to proceed now, or are you requesting a continuance?
No, we're prepared to proceed on this issue of the non-pro-tunc appeal.
Okay. All right. Well, we'd like to hear from you first, and then we'll hear from the city.
Thank you. May I share my screen?
Yes.
Bear with me. I've got too many files open.
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, if I may just point out that Mr. O'Brien and I'm retired, but we have been colleagues for somewhere around 30 or 40 years. And we both had different colored hair at the time we met.
Okay.
But I just would like to say, just wanted to point out that we have known each other for many, many years.
Okay, but before we proceed, for the sake of transparency, whenever those issues are raised, we want to inquire of all parties. Mr. Johnson, you have any concerns regarding our ability to hear this fairly?
No, no, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. O'Brien?
Not at all.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, we'll proceed. Mr. O'Brien, what would you like us to review?
Well, can you see my screen?
Yeah, but you need to increase it a bit.
Okay, bear with me. There we go. Okay. Can you see it?
That wasn't much better. Can you increase it just a tad more?
Increase the size of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's better.
Wow. Okay. I can hardly see it. It's so big. Well, Mr. Molson is here. If you want to swear him in.
Okay. Well, I tell you what we'll do. You're going to call him as a witness?
I am.
Okay, Mr. Molson, would you put your name on the record and raise your right hand to be sworn?
Andrew Molson.
Okay, do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can place your hand down. Mr. Johnson, do you plan to have a witness at all?
Yes, I would possibly be calling Mr. Ken Paralak.
Okay. All right, thank you. All righty. Mr. O'Brien?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Molson did not receive the licensing violation notice dated July 25th. What he received in September of this year was an invoice or a bill for unpaid fines. That invoice from the city referenced the L&I file number, the same one that's on this violation notice, CF 2024-075270, and it referenced a license, 28218. Upon receiving this request for payment of $24,000 in fines, Mr. Molson reached out to the Audits Investigations Unit of L&I to find out what it was all about. He then received the email that's in response to that inquiry. He received this email from Kenneth Paralak on September 23rd that attached a copy of the July 25th violation notice, which is following the email. Again, I can hardly see this because it's so large on my screen. The responsible party is identified as Andy Molson at 265 Arania Street. The cited license, as I said, 28218. There's no reference on this license as to any address or any building permit. It's just a listing of repeated fines, not uploading a subcontractor list. And then I think there are 12 violations for no OSHA and 12 violations. Yeah, bear with me here. For unlicensed contractor. And the sum of these fines is $24,000. So upon receiving this violation notice on September 20, – 23rd. I don't know if you can see that. This is can you see this from Kenneth Paralak?
I see something that says, well, it's tough to tell.
September 23rd.
Just one moment. What I'm viewing is a commercial building permit issued. That's all. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, then I'm not sharing the right screen.
But if you could focus in on the issue of the non-pro-tunc argument,
Right.
rather than all the other underlying
So
issues.
on September 23rd, Mr. Molson received, in response to his inquiry, this email from Kenneth Paralak, which attached a copy of the licensing violation notice, which he saw for the first time. The following day, September 24th, he filed his appeal to the License and Inspection Review Board. Upon receiving the appeal, he was requested to attach to it a non-pro-tunc form, which he did. I do need to share my screen, so I'm going to stop sharing what that is and see if I can identify what I'm. Okay, this is it, but it's so all licensing for the city has been coordinated and accomplished exclusively through the Eclipse system since March of 2020. The screen I'm going to show you now is Mr. Molson's Eclipse file, and this is the emails that are available through the notification system in Eclipse, and all the checked boxes, there are 29 of them. And Mr. Molson has acknowledged that he wants to receive email anytime there's any of this activity, and to receive email when any action on his part is needed. That is the first check mark. It's extraordinary that this notice of an alleged violation of his license is not issued through Eclipse when everything else is done through Eclipse.
I'm going to just make an objection.
I understand, but let me just
Wait, no, when there's Mr. O'Brien, when there's an objection, I need to hear the objection.
Mr.
Mr.
Bryan,
Johnson.
are you going to ask a question, or is this part of the argument?
Well, I'm just making an observation that the board should, I'm sure, is aware of.
Okay, but now wait, Mr. O'Brien, wait a minute. You've asked me to swear in your client.
Yes.
So if you're going to ask, if he's going to be a witness, you need to use him as a witness. Okay.
Okay.
So let's do that.
And then the other, before I just want to, the last item on this shared screen is the license number I referenced is license number 28218. That's the license number that's on the violation notice. And the licensee is AAA Housing. However, AAA Housing doesn't appear anywhere on the violation notice. No address, no building permit number, only the cited license, and the cited license, as indicated in Eclipse, is issued to AAA Housing. Mr. Molson, you've heard my testimony. I'm going
to object. Mr. O'Brien is not a witness and was not sworn. That was not testimony.
Okay. Rephrase your language. Okay.
Mr. Molson, you filed an appeal to the Board of License and Inspection Review from the from the violation notice dated July 25th, 24. Is that correct?
Yes.
When did you first see this violation notice?
I saw it when Ken had sent me an email with it being attached.
Or speak louder so they can hear you.
I reached out to Ken Paralak regarding a violation file number. He was then able to pull it up on his computer. He asked me if I ever received the license violation notice. I told him no. He said he was going to email it to me. This way I had a copy of it, which is exactly what he did. Upon receiving it from him, that's when I then started to file for the appeal, because it was the first time I saw the violation notice. The only thing I did receive was an invoice of some nature in order to pay the fine, but I'd never received any notification of a violation.
And was it the notice from the city that you had to pay a fine? Is that what excited you into contacting Mr. Paralak to find out what the fine was related to?
Yes.
You were on Eclipse. The screen I'm showing you now, are you familiar with this screen?
Yes.
And what are these? This is a screen that says action completion emails. The check boxes below indicate what things you should be notified of, including receiving email when action is needed on your part. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any box that's unchecked?
No.
If the city issued violation notices and issued them through Eclipse, would there be any dispute as to whether or not you received it?
I'm going to object. I don't know how he can testify as to the processes of the department. He's a contractor who's a license holder. Now, does it say anywhere on there, issue violation notice?
It does not.
Okay, let's do this.
So I'm going to object to the relevance of any of this information.
This is what we're going to do.
Mr. Johnson, the question is, why doesn't it?
Mr. O'Brien, and that's not, well, you can make that argument if you choose, but that's not going to get us anywhere in terms of non-proton requests. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Why they don't do it differently is not for us to decide today. We're here to decide if, in fact, you get a non-proton waiver, an exception. Okay? Do you have anything else for us?
Yes, just the violation notice itself. It doesn't reference the building permit number. It doesn't reference the address. It's not sent to the registered owner, the record owner of the real estate, and it's not directed to the license holder.
I'm going to object. Those are all issues that go to the merits of the appeal, not whether or not the appeal should be heard.
Yes.
Point as non-proton.
Okay, sustained.
So we'll conclude with Mr. Molson has testified without objection, without any contradiction, that he did not receive this notice in July. That the first time he saw it was after he contacted Mr. Paralak at the Audits Investigations Unit to ask him what the fines were about for this CF number.
Okay.
And Mr. Paralak sent him the notice, and he immediately the next day filed an appeal.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any cross, Mr. Johnson?
No cross.
Okay. Any presentation or closing?
No, I'm going to call a witness, Ken Paralak.
Yes. Mr. Paralak present? Mr.
Yes.
O'Brien, if you would, Mr. O'Brien, if you could close your screen.
Sure.
Mr. Paralak, your volume is up a lot, so we're getting some echoes for some reason.
I try to turn it down.
Yeah.
Sorry, bear with me here.
Okay.
Is that better?
A tad. If you can turn it down a bit more, it'd be much better.
How's it sound now?
That's better. Okay. Raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Paralak, can you tell us where you're employed?
City of Philadelphia License and Inspection Audits and Investigation Unit.
And what is your position with that unit?
I'm the interim manager.
And what does your job entail?
Overseeing license compliance.
With the board's permission, I'd like to share my screen.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the document that I'm showing that is attached to Mr. Molson's appeal petition?
Yes, I am.
Could you tell us what that document is?
That's a licensing violation notice, and the responsible party is Andy Molson, and that's 465 Aurania Street, Philadelphia, PA 19128.
And is he a licensed contractor in the city of Philadelphia?
Yes.
And what's the name of his business?
So it's under Andy Molson, doing businesses. I believe it's AAA
And
contracting.
what is the official address of that business?
465. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Ariana Street.
And can you tell us, were you involved in issuing the violation notice for this license?
So I do the supervisor reviews. I'm not sure if I did this one or if my supervisor underneath me did it. I'm not sure which one of us completed it.
Do you recall, like, have you had a chance to review any of the records regarding this case?
I have.
Okay. Can you tell us, was this mailed to the record address of Mr. Molson in the normal course of business of the department?
It was.
And what date was it mailed?
7/25/2024.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Okay, Mr. O'Brien, would you, any cross-examination, Mr. Paralak?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Paralak, did you have occasion to speak with Mr. Molson prior to your email to him on September 23rd?
I did.
Would you share that memory of that conversation with the board?
I don't recall the full conversation. I just remember him. I believe he asked me to send him the notice of violation, which I did. I don't know. I can't remember the full conversation now.
Did you? How does this? You weren't the inspector who did the inspection, correct?
No, I'm the manager.
All right, and the inspector who inspected it is the allegation of the violations, is that entered into a computer?
Yes.
And does that computer, who prints that out? Somebody print that out?
I believe it goes. I believe it's automatically. The notice of violation sent out either that night or the next morning.
And did you do that?
I do not do it. The supervisor or the manager will review we'll do a supervisor review to make sure that everything's correct. It's going to the correct recipient and all the violations are correct. And then we will send the notice of violation out. We don't actually send it. It's done automatically.
So somebody reviews the information that's in the computer.
Correct.
Correct. And once that review is complete and it's considered correct, how is the physical violation notice printed and mailed?
So we'll put the contractor's license number in on the responsible party, and then we'll complete the supervisor review with send notice of violation. It's done automatically. We don't actually mail it out ourselves. It'll go through the computer system, and one of the clerks will print out all the notices of violation that morning and put it into the mailroom and send it out. I don't actually do that myself. It's done by a
You
clerk.
have no direct knowledge that this notice was mailed to Andy Molson on July 25th.
If the computer says that the notice of violation was sent, then it was sent. I did not mail it myself, though.
And you don't know that it was mailed that day.
I'm going to object. That was asked and answered.
Okay. I think that's, I don't think there's anything further.
All right, thank you. Any closing comments from Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Johnson? Any closing argument? Before you do that, anyone else, any of my colleagues have a question of Mr. Paralak? No? Okay. All right.
Before we vote, I'd like to go into executive conference.
Okay.
I would.
Let's hear the closing arguments before we do that.
Mr. O'Brien, and then I'll go after Mr. O'Brien.
Yeah, Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. Molson's testified without contradiction that he did not see this violation notice until after he asked Mr. Paralak to send it to him. Mr. Pavlak remembers the conversation, but doesn't remember anything other than he spoke to Mr. Molson. I think it can be inferred that the conversation was as Mr. Molson represented it to be, that he called to ask for the violation notice because he didn't know what it was about. Again, the violation notice and the invoice for the alleged fines didn't reference an address, a building permit number, just a CF number. So he contacted Audits Investigations to find out what that was about. And that was what the first time he saw this, and he moved promptly afterwards. The city's offered no evidence other than that the content of the violation notice was accurate in that it reflected what the investigator reported. We have no evidence that it was actually printed and posted and mailed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
So the city's evidence and the testimony of Mr. Paralak has established that the normal course of practice for the department is that there's an automated system under which every single violation notice is printed and mailed by the computer system and goes out in the mail as normal course of business. That mailing is entitled to a presumption that it was sent and the presumption that it was received under the mailbox rule. Now, it's the burden of the petitioner in a case like this to rebut that presumption by showing that there was some breakdown in the administrative process or fraud or other non-negligent circumstances that should allow the petitioner to appeal nunc-pro-tunc. Here, I don't believe they've met their burden. We had heard a lot of information from Mr. O'Brien, but very little testimony from his client that would establish that, other than the fact that he didn't receive it. Unfortunately, that in itself is not establishing a breakdown in this case. The department did everything it normally does in sending it to their business address, and it's entitled to the presumption that it was received. Therefore, the board should deny this.
Mr. Chairman, just brief rebuttal on the mailbox rule. If there was testimony from the clerk that Mr. Paralak referenced saying, yes, there were 32 pieces of mail, and I have a log that accounts for all 32 pieces of mail that were printed on July 25th, and they were all mailed, the mailbox rule would apply. We don't have that testimony. We have an inference that this clerk and this process should be given the benefit of the doubt. The mailbox rule doesn't apply unless you have evidence and testimony saying it was mailed. Then the burden shifts. We don't have that evidence here.
Thank you. We will be back shortly. We'll take a short executive session. Okay, be back in the record. With regard to HA 2024-003960-1913 Wallace Street, Andrew Molson, request for non-pro-tunc is granted. Let's move on to the next matter. The witnesses are excused.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, there's been a resolution in 47 through 50.
Great. Let's hear those.
Mr. Guizza.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Thomas Guizza for the city.
Yes, sir. And who's representing the appellant?
Counsel was Joseph Console.
Oh, okay. So he's not with us now?
Yes, I believe he's left.
Okay. So would you put on the record the agreement?
Certainly. I spoke with Mr. Console and his client, Eugene Nedovich, and we were able to settle all 4 appeals for a combined city affirm with a $2,500 fine.
City affirm $2,500 fine for
47
all 4 cases?
Yeah, so this is, would you like me to read all 4 numbers into the record?
Yes, sir, please.
Certainly. So the first is case number 47 on the list, case number HA-2024-004753. Then case number 48, which is HA-2024-004754. Then case number 49, hearing appeal 2024-004755. And finally, case number 50 on the list, HA-2024 -004-756.
Thank you very much. And those matters collectively are settled for city of firm $2,500 fine, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, you excuse. All right, Mr. Wade, what do we have?
Case number 24, hearing appeal ending 4041, 3500 Bath Street, Alexander Green.
Okay. Who's handling this for the city?
Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Mr. Johnson. Okay. Mr. Alexander Green. Anyone present representing Alexander Green? Or
He was on the call. I sent him a
okay.
prompt to unmute.
Okay.
Hi, hello. I'm here on behalf of Alexander Green as well.
Who are you, sir?
My name is Jamal Smith. I'm his brother.
Okay. Are you an attorney?
No.
Okay. Mr. Green has to speak for himself.
Oh.
Mr. Green, as I see an image with a name, I just don't know if that's Mr. Green.
Right here.
Okay. Just give us your name, sir.
Alexander Green.
Okay. You may need to turn your volume up a little bit. Okay, because we can't hear you very well.
You hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better. Would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn, sir? And make sure that's in the screen as well. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. But there's another voice. I would advise you, Mr. Green, that this is a very serious matter, and the only voice we should hear on your end is your voice, unless you have a lawyer representing you. It won't go well if there are other voices chiming in. Okay, understood?
Yes.
Okay, you appear to be in a vehicle. Are you parked in a safe place?
Yes, I'm parked.
Okay, all right, thank you. Who's representing the city in this matter?
Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, Mr. Green, there must be
I
another device.
put him in a waiting room. I put Jamal Smith in the waiting room.
Oh, okay, because we were getting the echo. Okay, Mr. Green, you submitted a request for a late hearing. So make your argument for why we should grant your request.
Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, for the late hearing, like the late hearing thing, it was an issue with my original hearing thing because I was claiming I wasn't responsible for what they were charging me with, and the person responsible, which was my brother, was responsible. So when I sent my appeal in, they told me he also had to send an appeal in, and he didn't get that paperwork. I didn't even know the dates for the paperwork because I didn't turn my appeal in late. So, but after I sent my appeal in, they sent me a late form. So I'm like, I filled that out as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me ask you, sir. When did you get what's the date of the violation notice that you have? Did you get that? You get the violation notice? Did you receive that?
Yes, I got the violation notice.
Okay. What was the date that you received it?
See, I'm not home right now. The
Well,
doctor's at
Mr.
home.
Green, Mr. Green,
Don't
this
call
is
me at
your
work.
Mr. Green. You've submitted this request for a hearing, which means
Yeah.
you need to be prepared to make your argument and have all your documentation with you. So, but okay. Mr. Johnson, any argument that you would have?
I would submit, I mean, Mr. Green had submitted paperwork that suggests that the date of the notice is August 6, 2024. It's written that received 8/14/24 on the top of that letter, and the appeal wasn't filed with the board until September 25th. And for that reason, we're going to ask that this be denied.
Okay. Mr. Green, why didn't you file your appeal within the 30 days?
The first paper they gave me, I sent it back within 30 days. The first paper
No.
they sent another paper to my brother. That's what I'm trying to say. I sent my.
Well, do you have evidence? Because our records show that you didn't submit your appeal until September 25th.
I remember sending because I got the I had a priority mailed up there. Oh, hold on.
Well, what are you prepared to show us?
I don't even know if it's still in the system. I guess. Yes, I got nothing.
Okay, so you don't have anything to show us?
Nope, not at the moment.
Okay. Any final argument, Mr. Johnson?
The city's position is that Mr. Green hasn't met the burden for a non-proton.
Okay.
Uh,
With regard to HA 20,
May I ask a question?
yes, ma'am. Please, yes.
I'm sorry to intrude, but I need to ask a question. So, Mr. Green, did you send a separate letter to the city of Philadelphia? A typewritten letter to the city of Philadelphia?
it was a letter along with my appeal and the original the original letter of notice.
And when do you remember when that letter was dated?
It appears that we lost him.
No.
Mr. Green, Mr. Green, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know why the camera just cut out. But yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to try to get your camera back.
It's not on?
No, it's not.
It's showing it's on. Hold on, let me try again. It's saying it's on.
It's not on, Mr. Green. We cannot see your face.
All right, hold on. Bro, why is it not cutting on?
Miss Penn, are you referring?
There we are. Here we are.
Miss Penn, are you referring to the letter that was attached to the appeal?
Yes, I am. Signed by Mr. Green, and I'm guessing that's your brother, Mr. Smith?
Yes.
The date of that letter?
No, I don't recall it. It's not on there?
The same letter is time stamped at the department on September the 25th.
Yes, I do see that, Mr. Pincus. I'm just asking Mr. Green if he recalls when he did that, when he wrote that letter.
Oh, if it say September 25th, then.
No, no. My question is, do you recall the date that you prepared that letter?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I apologize, but I am going to ask if we could have a brief executive session.
Okay. All right. As per our procedure. Just want to check something. Mr. Johnson, I believe this is your matter.
Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Johnson, in this matter, is there any, there's no contest regarding the actual date of the notice, correct?
Correct.
Is there any other individual noted in the violation, or it's just the Alexander Green?
To my knowledge, it's just Mr. Green.
Okay, and his address is the same address as on everything?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no issue in terms of that.
Correct.
And the notices that we have L&I stamps of 9/25. There's no record of anything being submitted prior to that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, and I would note the letter that was attached that was referenced by the board was addressed to the Board of License and Inspection Review.
Okay, not to the Department of License and Inspection.
Correct.
Okay. All right, Mr. Green. I'm not sure if he's still with us. Mr. Green, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Green. Mr. Green, you realize that your appeal form, your letter was stamped in at 9/25. Any reason why that was late beyond the 30 days of August 9th?
I don't know why, because I got the letter notarized in August.
Yeah, but it wasn't received by the city until 9/25, so I'm not sure when you mailed it in and or delivered the letter. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't remember those dates, but
Okay. All right. Okay. Regarding HA 2024-004041, 3500 Bath Street, Alexander Green, request of non-proton hearings is denied. Thank you, sir.
uh-huh.
Witness is excused. Let's move on to the next matter. Mr. Wade, what's next?
I know that Mr. Johnson's matters are done. However, we previously called a Kenneth Olson, case number 13, and he didn't respond, but I believe he's on the hearing.
Okay. And who's representing that matter?
I believe that would be Mr. Johnson's last matter.
Okay. We
called it for a failure to appear. I don't know if he rejoined or not.
okay.
I know he was having technical problems. There are 2 phones that are unidentified.
Okay.
Mr. Olson, 6601 Lawton Avenue. Kenneth Olson. I don't know if you want to leave it as
Yeah, we're gonna leave it as
failure
is.
to appear.
Well, no, it's just denied.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, it's denied, and we have marked failure to appear. The same was true with case number 8, Yadaria Brown. That was called, and that was failure to appear as well. It was denied because no one responded, and I believe somebody joined after the fact. That was case number 8.
Okay,
On
but she
both of them
wasn't.
matters. Yes.
Yeah, she
Okay,
wasn't
so that-
present when we called the case.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have, that brings us to case number 40.
Okay.
Hearing appeal ending 4666 2623 Sorrento Road, Mary McDuffie.
Okay. Mary McDuffie, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Will Fernandez for the city of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Mary McDuffie. Anyone representing the interests of 2623 Sorrento Road, Mary McDuffie? Anyone present? Okay, Mr. Wade, what do we have in terms of service?
Mary, she was on the hearing the whole
Yeah.
day.
It appears she's still here. I see her screen. It's just black.
I don't see any name. Is that name showing up anywhere?
Yes. Yes, her name is showing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Oh, I said yes. Okay, Mr. Wade, can you connect with her at all?
I can try and call.
Okay.
I'll call the next matter, and in the meantime, I'll try and reach out to her.
Okay, Ms. Fernandez, just give us a moment, please.
Absolutely.
Case number 42, hearing appeal ending 4699 4316 Teasdale, Karen Bradley.
Okay, Ms. Bradley, would you unmute yourself, please? And who's representing the city in this matter?
Good afternoon, Will Fernandez for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, Ms. Bradley, you're muted. Would you unmute yourself?
I did. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's breaking up. Is your vehicle moving? It appears that you're in a car.
No, I'm stopped.
Okay, you in a parked place, in a safe place?
I am.
Okay, because if you're moving, we can't hear your case.
No, I'm not moving. Say
Okay. Okay. Would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn?
yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Bradley, we'd like to hear from you as to why we should grant your request for a late hearing.
Okay. I originally I actually sent a letter with all my letters from my neighbors and stuff. I sent that in on time. I was unaware there was a form that I had to send in. I searched the LNI website to look for the form. I could not find it. So what I did send in was a letter of appeal with some evidence and whatnot. After not hearing back from anybody from LNI, I emailed them and I asked them, had they received my appeal? The one email I got said, no, not in this office. And then I think it was Miss Brown who reached out to someone else at LNI and they did receive my appeal, but the form was not there. She in turn emailed me the form. I filled that out and sent that back.
Okay.
So I did send a letter with the evidence, and I have a receipt here when I mailed it. But
Okay.
it was just that the appeal form with it.
Okay. What was the date that you mailed that letter?
That letter was mailed on 9/20.
September 20th?
Yes,
Okay. Now, did you receive the violation notice, correct?
I guess I did. Yes, I did.
And it gave you instructions as to how to appeal the decision? I mean, to appeal the violation notice?
Well, it did, but when I went on the LNI website and I went on quite a few times looking for a form to send in with it, I could not find one. So I wrote a letter and I sent in
I
my
understood that, but the issue is just trying to get some sense of the appeal, why you didn't follow the appeal. Let's do this. Let's hear from the city. Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The violation notice in question here was issued on August 22nd, 2024. As Ms. Bradley has testified to, she received the notice, presumably timely. The duty to file an appeal is then on Ms. Bradley. She did include, I'll make sure the board is aware, in her late appeal, the one that is at issue today, she did include a copy of a letter. I will just point out to the board that the letter is dated September 4th, 2024. Ms. Bradley earlier said that it was mailed on September 20th. It also, there's no proof of mailing or anything included in the appeal packet. So with all that said, without getting into the substance of the appeal, I do believe that reinspection is still obviously always available for Ms. Bradley if she wishes to dispute that the violations currently exist. But just based purely on law, Ms. Bradley failed to follow the appropriate procedures that are referenced on the notice. And so I would ask that this board dismiss this appeal for not being timely.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wade, the administrator, just want to ask you, in this instance, the violation notices that are sent out, what's the process for a citizen to appeal? And I guess I should actually put you on the oath. So raise your right hand, please. You swear to affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth to help you God.
I do.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
How would a citizen who receives a violation notice actually get their hands on a copy of the appeal form?
Right.
They would, the instructions are on the violation notice. In order to correct, they can appeal at the municipal service building. Currently at the current location is the concourse of the MSB building, and there are also instructions on more information that can be given out on the website with a link for an appeal form and a link to make an appointment.
Okay, and that website address is still active and
Yes.
available? Was it active
Yes.
and available in August when this violation was written?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Bradley, anything, now he's testified and given you the appeal. I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask him a question if you want to cross-examine Mr. Wade based on his testimony. Anything you want to ask him?
Well, I just want to say that, like, I'm not that computer savvy, but I should have been able to find the form and I couldn't. So I mailed a letter, but I want to know why the form isn't mailed with the violation. I mean, that would make sense, don't you think?
Well, Mr. Wade, I don't know if you can answer that.
I don't, was that a question?
Yes, is
Yeah,
that a
why
question?
form, why isn't an appeal form mailed with the violation in case the person wants to appeal it? Why do they have to go searching for a form on a website, which I couldn't find?
Well, the board appeals unit is separate from the actual enforcement unit of LNI. That would be something LNI itself would would offer while issuing the violations. I can't speak to how the violation notices are issued. I can only speak to how we receive the appeals and how we direct people to receive to file their appeal.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Wade, what was the date of the receipt of the letter from Miss Bradley?
So everything that we received, including that letter, is stamped November 14th.
November 14th? Okay.
Because this was what was included. The first time, to my knowledge, that we saw this letter was when the appeal was filed.
Okay. All right. And the violation occurred in August. Okay. Miss Bradley, is there anything else you want to add?
Well, there were emails enclosed in that in my appeal stating that I asked all about this. I mean, they did receive my letter in September.
Okay. Do you have the emails that you
I
referenced?
did, and I submitted them. I submitted them to you guys. I actually emailed them to you a couple days ago.
Okay. Do we have that in the information packet?
I don't have it in front of me.
I have emails from Miss Geraldine Brown and Pascarillo. I have emails back and forth from those two women because Ms. Brown said she was no longer
Well, we can't,
handling.
man, we have a bad connection. We can barely hear you. It's breaking up.
I
Okay.
do have the emails in front of me.
Okay. Just for sake of discussion, just give me the dates of the emails and who were the corresponding individuals.
Okay, it was a Miss Geraldine Brown. It was a Liz Pascarillo, I believe.
What's the date?
Let me see. Sorry, so much. Okay, so I first wrote, I asked in November if they received my appeal. That the one woman said no, we did not
Okay.
receive.
So
So
what's the
then
date of the next email? I just want to know the dates of the email and with whom you corresponding.
okay, they were November 6th.
Okay. All right. So well outside of the 30-day notice appeal period.
Right. Well, I asked them if they received my appeal, like my letter.
Okay.
And the one woman, she told me no, but she said to reach out to the board's admin at phil.gov.
Okay.
And then I did. And then they said they did receive my appeal in the mail. However, the form was not there.
What was the date of the letter that you sent in?
That was the letter I think that you were discussing. It was mailed on September 20th. It was written on September 4th. I tried to find the form and
Okay.
I couldn't.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any final argument, Mr. Fernandez?
I would just urge Ms. Bradley, regardless of the outcome of this hearing, to contact Inspector Geraldine Brown, who issued the violations, and request to schedule a reinspection where you can meet her at the property and go through the violations at issue. With that said, I would just invite the board to, at their own leisure, you can Google L&I appeal, licenses, inspections appeal, and the board administration website with the appeal form is the first result. Notwithstanding Ms. Bradley's testimony earlier that she isn't too good at internet stuff, that's very understandable. And I would still say there's a phone number for help listed on the appeal form. I'm sorry, on the notice of violation. And I don't think that the circumstances here rise to the level of an administrative breakdown or any other description of the proceedings that could reach the legal threshold for nunc-pro-tunc appeal. So I'm sympathetic to Ms. Bradley's situation. I do think that it can be very possibly cured through reinspection. However, it's my duty and responsibility to say that she has not met the bar for a non-pro-tunc appeal to be granted.
Thank you. Regarding HA 2024-004699, 4316 Teasdale Street, Karen Bradley, request for a non-pro-tunc hearing is granted. Thank you very much. Everyone is excused.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Wade, let's move on.
And can I ask a question?
No, ma'am, we're moving on to the next matter. We got a lot more people to hear. Thank you.
Very
Mr.
much.
Wade? Okay.
Mary McDuffie, although being on the call, is not answering her phone nor responding now. We do have another matter, number 46.
Okay, let's go to that one.
Matter 46, hearing appeal ending 4741, 4748 North Marvine Street, Mark Gilbert.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Will Fernandez for the city of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Mark Gilbert. Anyone present representing Mark Gilbert or his address at 4748 North Marvine Street? 4748 North Marvine. Okay, Mr. Wade, can you confirm service?
Mr. Gilbert listed 510 West 110th Street, apartment 1A, New York, New York.
Okay.
Notice was sent 11/20/2024.
Okay. All right. Mr. Fernandez, what is your pleasure?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe, unless I misunderstood earlier, that in these circumstances, the board can and should dismiss these appeals for failure to appear sua sponte without the city needing to make the request. But my request is that this be dismissed for their failure to appeal.
Okay. He's failed to appear at his non-pro-tunc hearing. This request is denied. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Wade, I guess we have several outstanding matters, right?
Just one.
Just one?
In case 40, hearing appeal ending 4666, 2623 Sorrento Road, Mary McDuffie.
Okay.
There's an unidentified cell phone. I'm asking it to unmute.
Okay.
And Mary McDuffie is on the screen but not responding.
Okay. Who's representing the city?
Will Fernandez for the city of Philadelphia.
Mr. Fernandez. Okay, we got the last matter. Mary McDuffie. Okay, Mr. Wade, if
I called several times. Her phone doesn't accept calls.
Okay. Would you check for service, please?
Okay.
I'm just curious what we're gonna do here. Mr. Fernandez, do you have a position in this?
City's position is that without the appellant here, her non-pro-tunc request should be denied.
Okay.
Mary McDuffie listed 2623 Sorrento Road. Notice this hearing was sent to 2623 Sorrento Road on November 20th, 2024.
Okay. And has Mary McDuffie been present during the hearing all
Yes.
day?
Yes.
But has not.
Oh, I see her. I see her.
She's been on the whole day. She doesn't. Okay. There
Her
she
camera
is.
just came on, and she's exclaiming
Shouting
loudly. It looks like, but it's still muted.
Miss McDuffie, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Okay, this is okay. Mr. Wade, if maybe try calling her again now that she's on.
It doesn't accept calls.
Oh, it doesn't?
It says you can only text me and I'll call you back.
Okay. Would you mind can you text her?
Oh. She's holding up. I cannot hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right, Mr. Wade, text her and see what she says.
Okay.
You may need some help working on her iPhone and how to make this all work for her.
Okay.
She obviously can hear us, I believe.
Well, she said she can hear us now. Okay. She can hear us. Miss McDuffie, give us the thumbs up if you can hear us.
Oh,
Perfect. Okay, she can hear us. Miss McDuffie, we're going to have, if you can't figure out how to communicate with us because we can't hear you. And so we need to hear you in order to hold a hearing. And so what we may need to do is continue this until you can figure out what's going on with your device. Okay. I get that. I understand exactly what you mean by the hand gestures. So, Mr. Wade, this is what we're going to do. Given the, do we have anybody in IT area who can help her, you think, or not?
No, she could
if
call.
I'm not sure what that says.
She could call one of them numbers. She could call.
Appeals.
We can continue it. She can call one of them numbers tomorrow, and we'll.
Oh, look, she's giving her number, 215-686.
No, that's our number, Will.
Oh, I got so excited.
She can call. She can call that number. She can call that number tomorrow. We can continue it right now, and she can call that number. And
I have no objection. I could not bring myself to object.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Miss McDuffie?
Yes, she can hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can call that number tomorrow, and we'll figure out your next course of action for your hearing. We will be in person for the next batch of these hearings.
Yeah, my guess is that it's not an IT issue because it's not. She's not muted. There's no crossed out microphone, so I think there's just a hardware issue most likely.
Yep. Okay. Ms. McDuffie, your matter has been continued. We will reschedule your date, and hopefully you can work out the technology. You may not have heard this, but the administrator says that your next hearing probably will be in person. You have an option to come in town to have a hearing in person, so that should eliminate that issue. Okay, very sorry about that. I know you sat through the whole hearing process today, and it's been a huge inconvenience. So I'm sorry that occurred. But in this instance, our hands are tied. There's very little we can do. So have a good afternoon and enjoy your evening. Is there anything else, Mr. Wade?
That's all.
Okay, Mr. Fernandez, thank you very much. This is our first opportunity to do these non-pro tunc hearings. Let's have executive session to quickly review what we've done or not done. Everyone have a good afternoon.
Before Mr.